and now the book made me angry at pigs.
Well, they're not...
I am so angry at these pigs.
As far as I know, Rachel, pigs are not becoming dictators on farms.
I would assume, however, it makes me angry. I like them. They're usually very sweet and cute.
And also, not all the pigs were trying to be dictators.
As far as we know. I don't think all pigs are dictators.
I went out and ate a pound of bacon just to show him who's boss.
Damn pigs.
It's just a big piggy. Fucking pigs.
He pissed me off when he took the puppies. I was like, I fucking know you're up to something, you son of a bitch.
Fucking pigs.
I knew he was up to something. I could tell. I was just like...
Can you just say again? I like pigs.
I do like the pigs.
I think that is the beginning.
This made me so sad because I was like, I really like pigs, but this is making me hate them. Like, it's really making me hate the pigs.
I made a ham sandwich.
Made sure to fry up that damned bacon.
They are intelligent animals.
They are. They're actually very intelligent. That's true. However,
these
guys were jerks and creepy. The second they went on two legs.
They know how to use tools.
I don't know how.
They've got hooves.
Yeah, but their hooves are weird. They actually look like this.
Yeah, they've got like...
They have like pincers.
Lobster claws.
Or like duck beaks for hands. Like, it's weird. Like, I kept trying to picture the animals the whole time. And then I started thinking of like hybrid animal, like human hybrids. And I was just like, oh god, don't start thinking about that. Like, woohoo! The hell are they doing?
They're all anthropomorphic and to an extent. It's almost like a Toy Story-esque world and stuff.
Well, they don't speak truly, though. To each other, yes. To
Well,
humans, they just seem very, like, they can...
They talk
it's
to
like
that
me
one
talking
guy.
to my dog. And I try to just know what he wants, and I know what he's thinking. But he doesn't actually speak to me.
I don't know. I think that you're supposed to assume that they can sort of
I don't
talk.
think
At least
so.
the pigs can.
No.
Because they give orders to that dude to pick
says,
stuff
like,
up for them.
But they were able to communicate enough that he knew what they wanted.
Okay. But they can read.
Yes. I don't think they can actually articulate, though. I don't know.
Rachel,
I can never look at a pig the same way ever again.
They're not... even in this story, they... But they weren't all dictators. Hashtag not all pigs, Rachel. There are a lot of shirts that we could have from this story alone.
Look at this one. He's up to something.
Yeah, that one's certainly up to something.
Little son of a bitch.
See, like,
conniving.
So many
drunkards.
You know that they have the Obey with Andre the Giant? It says Obey, but it's a picture of a pig for Napoleon.
Yes.
Or you could do the Obama one that says, like, change, but it's Snowball. And then you could have Never Forget with a boxer.
Oh no, poor boxer. Start the podcast. We still haven't started.
Well, we kind of did. Anyway.
We kind of did, but you didn't say anything.
Hello, comrades. I am Comrade Kevin.
And I'm Rachel. I refuse.
I thought about saying I'm beloved leader Kevin or whatever the hell they call him.
Oh my god.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast where a brother and sister team go through all things pop culture in all different types of genres, be them books, TVs, movies, games, video games, comics, whatever else. And we determine whether or not that those subjects at hand belong on your shelf, be that digital or physical. And today, we are in the midst of Volume 4. We're doing something a little different. We're doing something a little intellectual today. We are doing something that you for sure can have on your shelf, and I have to go through it and explain it because we might have new listeners because of that. Now, what we might also have here are potentially people that are trying to get one up on the report that they're writing or something, and that's fine. But make sure that you cite Shelf Life in your bibliography, god damn it, and you get your parents' permission to listen to Shelf Life. Rachel, what are we doing today? What is up for contention to the shelf today?
Well, Animal Hero First Class, let me tell you. There you go, Simon. Is that better? You can be Animal Hero First Class.
That's fine. I will take all of the medals, even the ones I reward myself.
Yeah. We are going to be discussing George Orwell's novel, Animal Farm.
Mm-hmm. We are going to the bookshelf for the first time here on
excited.
Shelf Life.
I love a good book.
I don't know how this will go, but I feel like we can do our usual walkthroughs that we do for everything else. So for those of you that are new, you might have seen the running time and gone, this podcast is longer than it would take to listen to the audiobook, which is true. So you should go listen to the audiobook as well.
Yeah, we'll
or
see.
read the book.
It might not be.
We don't know. Rachel and I are blowhards. We leave no stone unturned, no matter what the subject is. We go through everything hard and long and decisively to make sure that we come up to the right verdict on whether or not the subject belongs on your shelf. And by doing that, we go through everything. So scene by scene and page by page, depending on what it is. Rachel, as always, I will ask you, what is your history with Animal Farm? And what is Animal Farm about?
I never actually read Animal Farm when I was a kid. This is my first time reading the book. I knew of Animal Farm. I knew some of the story aspect and what it was kind of about. But this was my first time actually fully reading it and immersing myself into it.
Mm-hmm. And Rachel does have a pig farm on the property, so now she's gonna.
It's making me concerned.
She's very worried.
Slightly,
yes.
Yeah. I made sure to put a donkey and a horse, watching
Just
them
in
at all
case.
times.
Yeah.
We gotta we gotta keep them in line now. All right.
I could actually see you and your husband having.
We could have a whole
pig.
farm. I could have a whole farm. Honestly,
I could see you having a
I
pig.
would want a sheep as well. So
Yeah.
and a goat.
Because a pig is fun. They're
Pig would be
like a
fun.
big dog,
Yeah.
a big, smelly, eats a lot,
I don't even
poops
think they're
everywhere
that
dog.
smelly.
No,
No. Well, I mean they're manure and stuff.
they like to roll around in filth.
to keep cool.
They have no sweat
Anyways.
glands, Kevin.
So Animal Farm, as you probably have surmised, is about a farm and the animals on it. Now, the whole idea is that they're very sentient animals, I guess it would be the way to
It's a
describe
Toy Story
them.
situation.
They stage a coup against the farmer.
They revolt.
A revolt. I guess that's
It's a Viva la
more of a
revolution.
revolt. Yes. But Kevin, what is your history?
I don't remember when I read it first. I want to say it was grade school, junior high. I don't think it was high school. I think it was junior high. I had to do the whole thing with you write your report and you take the quizzes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That was the first time I read it. I read it again maybe 10, 12 years ago at this point. So just to reread it because I remember liking it. It's a quick read.
Yeah.
So I've read it a couple of times. As an adult now, I understand a lot more the themes and can understand, pick all of that up. We read it in junior high and were told explicitly it is a allegory for the Soviets, which is, of course, very black and white on that.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely an allegory for the Soviets. Napoleon is... I almost called him Putin, but whatever. Napoleon is Stalin.
It's a dictator character.
Dictator.
Yeah.
And reading it again, you pick up a lot on, okay, it's for sure about Stalin and the Soviets, but it could really be about any authoritarian, totalitarian takeover.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
can see a lot of parallels in that. So it's a cautionary tale, it's a fable.
It's
so,
just it's an interesting way to shed light on facts and things that are happening in the world and how
Yeah.
it all works.
yeah, it's an Orwell story because Orwell comes up a lot, especially on the internet because of idiots that haven't read it or just hear 1984 or whatever.
I do like 1984. That is one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
So 1984 is the one that probably had more of an impact on me because that's the one I got to read back then. So I don't know. Maybe I do need to pick that one back up and read it and now kind of compare, okay, which ones to me are more impactful.
Yeah. 1984 is a lot more universally, let's take a look at tactics that people use to change language and do propaganda and stuff like that, as opposed to this, which is very black and white. It's about Russia.
Yeah.
You can apply 1984 a lot wider. A little bit about this, at least a little bit about like the setup here, how this was devised, how this was done. Read a little bit about what Orwell was trying to do and how it was rough to be able to get this thing published.
Okay.
Because Orwell is or was a socialist. The weird thing is, online you see people on the left and right using this as examples of why the other side is bad.
Sure.
I don't think that's the goal of this book.
I don't think it is either.
The goal is to warn against authoritarianism in any form. It is not about socialism is right or capitalism is right. It's about authoritarianism. Different sides can use Orwell, but in the end, he was not a Soviet. He was a socialist. He was a socialist and a cynic.
Oh, definitely a cynic. 100%.
No, he definitely, like, there's no way that he wasn't. I even saw one that was talking about how this book was taught to be anti-socialist, pro-capitalist, and it's not that at all. We weren't taught that. So maybe it was like a 60s and 70s thing because it was Cold War, but that is not the message of the book. He was fighting with the socialists in the Spanish Civil War.
Okay.
Against fascism. And he thought that Russia, the Soviet Union, was going to be the example of workers' rights and rising up socialism and having this decay of capitalism go away, and socialism was going to be the thing that showed that this could work. If everyone is equal, everyone's on equal footing, everyone does the same work, everyone shares in the profit.
Right.
And he became disillusioned with how Stalin and the Red Army broke that trust and became what it became, which was a totalitarian version of socialism or communism. So for him, it was trying to satirize Stalin, and that's why he wrote it. He had written about his experiences in Spain. Those didn't sell as well, and he realized that making a fictional story about it would work better which it does, because you can make it into a narrative, and it fits.
Yeah, and it's a lot more interesting for people than just hearing, political jargon and having that all just, like, pushed in your face. This makes it a bit more interesting. It, like, gives it a little bit more oomph.
So he tried to get the thing published during World War II, like 1943, 1944. No one was going to touch it because nobody wanted to poke fun at Stalin while he was helping the Allies beat Hitler.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting little side note on that because of the fact that, like, yes, when the enemy of your enemy is your friend, you leave them alone. But the second that war is over, now we can talk. Now we can get the thing published.
Right. Yeah.
But he could not get it published. So it was like the second the war ends, August 17th, 1945, the thing gets printed. Okay, Hitler's dead. Now you can print your book.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, now the next enemy is up. And then it, of course, spreads. It becomes very popular. It's given very well marks critically and everything like that. Contemporary, of course, it becomes a staple, at least in American classrooms. This is usually something that is read. Rachel didn't read it, but I think a lot of people do.
it was probably like an every other year type of thing. They probably went back and forth, and I think
they do
1984.
I think that's right, actually. Yeah,
that's what I think happened. Yeah.
The CIA.
When you said that, you gotta tell me more. You got me on that one. What do you mean?
So, two things with the CIA. One, they would drop copies of Animal Farm on Eastern Soviet bloc countries during the 50s and 60s with balloons tied to them.
Wow.
So then
Hunger
the
Games-esque, here's
yeah,
your...
here's your copy of Animal Farm. So and the Soviets would try to shoot the thing down, and
Holy
then
cow, okay.
they also approached the widow Orwell for the rights to Animal Farm. So in the 50s, there is a cartoon version funded by the CIA. So that one might be a little more, hey, look at how much communism sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point is to satirize this particular group. So they were involved in trying to spread the word of Animal Farm after it was published and people liked it in the States.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't know if it's banned in Russia. I know that in China you can buy it, according to Wikipedia.
Oh, interesting.
It's not like an ebook thing, because they say the elites are the only ones that read Animal Farm, and the elites or that read books. If you can read, you wouldn't read Animal Farm.
Wow.
But,
okay.
Yeah. So I kind of wonder if this at all, probably not, because I think the people that would ban books in America would misread this book.
Oh, absolutely.
And then not want to ban it.
I feel like
Even
it
though
would
the
be.
people...
I feel like it'd be both. People they either would just think they know what the book is about and say we have to ban it, or they read it and they misread it and be like, no, we have to like use this as our propaganda.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what would happen.
I'm interested in that, but yeah, who knows if it would be one way or the other. So here's the thing for everybody out there listening, past, present, or future. I don't know how you're listening into this in the past, but there's a possibility. This is a politically charged book.
Oh yeah.
So
if you haven't figured that out already.
So Rachel and I are going to give you how the book is interpreting things, and we might have to allegorically.
Is that?
I think that's probably
like
the right way to say it.
Allegorically speak, or
yeah,
okay.
allegorically phrase or speak or give examples, so that we can match things up to give you some analysis on it. Remember, kids, folks at home, Rachel and I are playing characters, so you have no idea what our opinion is, and that's the end of that. So just remember that. Since then, this thing has been republished a bunch of times. It's become stage productions. There were different theater and stage plays that have been done. There was the 1954 film. Mm-hmm. There was a 1999 film live action. When we get to the end, Rachel, I will explain, because I watched the ending of both movies, because both of them were on YouTube. So I just watched the end and like skimmed through the live action one.
Okay.
So I will tell you the differences between the ending of the book versus the ending of both films. All three are different, which is interesting. And I have reasons why they're all different, too.
Okay.
This is interesting if this is actually happening. Andy Serkis is directing an upcoming animated version to be released in 2025.
Really?
Yes.
That's weird. Okay.
I hope it comes out.
I hope so, too. I'm curious.
Netflix is going to have it.
Of course they are.
So we'll see. Because that is... I don't know. I haven't heard anything about this. Now I have to look this up. Oh, yeah. Animal Farm 2025. It's just got Andy Serkis
so weird. Yeah,
playing Benjamin. Doesn't have anybody else yet. Wonder if it'll actually be made.
Because it's Gollum's voice. Him being Benjamin is interesting.
Well, he's directing it too.
He liked Benjamin, I bet. Benjamin's one of those guys who's like, I really want to fucking stay out of it. Just let me.
Well,
just so let me be. And then he's like, you know what? I think I can't stay out of it anymore.
I'll tell you right now. It seems like in the 50s movie, Benjamin is more your eyes to it, and in the 90s, it's Jessie, the dog.
Okay.
Which is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Probably because they used live action, so like you can get a dog to act
more
than you could a horse or a donkey.
Right, yeah.
So
fair.
And I do think that there's reasons for those both of those choices in that. So anyway, so yes, potentially a new movie coming out with that. Radio dramas, comic strips. They were secretly hired by the Information Research Department, a secret department of the Foreign Office in the UK, to adapt Animal Farm into a comic. So they immediately used this as propaganda against the Soviets.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was even a video game. I'm sure it's like one of those like little on Steam video games. It's like $2 or something. Like, how
Or
does this be a
like
video
a little
game?
like indie game or like some like IO type of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
something
could
like
kind of
that.
see that. Who would you play if you were
You'd...
if you were in the video game? Who were you playing as?
I'm hoping that you can make your own character, and you get to decide on
you
what
get to be like
animal
an
you want to be.
animal? Ooh,
Yeah.
and that would like change like how everybody speaks to you and stuff too. Because animals are all equal on Animal Farm, but some animals are more equal than others.
You know what? In fact, I had an opening for this that I missed out on, which was supposed to be, and this is Shelf Life, a podcast where brother and sister team always believe 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. But I
And
think
then
that
4 legs good, 2 legs better.
Nope, 2 legs are never better.
No.
Only 4 legs. That's all we care about.
Damn straight. Animals are better.
I truly believe that. I can agree with a lot of the tenets of animalism.
They should have had a raccoon, because a raccoon also stands up and uses their hands.
That's true.
Just saying.
But a raccoon on the farm.
Coyotes, they're weird, and they'll stand on their hind legs.
They're weird. They do some stuff. But yeah, animalism, all for it. All for 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. This video game, though, it could be like the Hogwarts video game where you make your own character and then you go through.
And you're like going around the animal farm. You actually have to like do things around the farm.
It's a super cynical game though, so you can't really win. No matter what, Napoleon
that would be amazing. I would love that.
Over, and you're just totally disappointed by the end of the game. It's like, yeah, that's the point. That's life.
I can't win. But there's different endings, but they're all bad.
Every ending is bad.
There's so many different endings, but none of them are good. I love that idea.
It's straight out of an Orwellian nightmare. There are 12 different endings to this, and they're all bad.
And then there's the one true ending. Also bad.
Also bad.
The hidden ending. Also very bad.
Also bad. Somehow worse.
Somehow worse.
There is a cheat code. It's also bad.
But you can't win. If you use the cheat code, you get an alternate ending, which is very, very bad, and tells you that you cheated.
You cheated, comrade.
You get murdered by Napoleon if you use a
you
cheat
have to
code.
confess to your crimes.
He like catches you. He's like, I know you used the cheat code.
Snowball gave you a cheat code, did he not, comrade?
Tell me.
You can admit it.
Go ahead, admit it. And then it's like you have 2 answers, and it's either like yes or no, but I did use a cheat code. Yes or yes. And then they just murder you on the spot. You get mauled by the dogs. Oh my god.
I love this idea. Folks at home, get this going. That can't cost that much money.
Someone could have fun doing that.
Yeah,
that's somebody's like side fun right there.
Yeah.
To make a George Orwellian Animal Farm game. It's like a horror game, but it looks nice. Like, they make it look like a utopia, and it slowly starts getting darker.
You figure it out.
And the sky becomes red, and it gets like dead and scary, and I love it.
Rachel, do you have anything else to discuss before we hit the break?
Oh no, I'm ready. I'm already discussing.
Then we will take a short break after word from our fake sponsor, and we will walk through Animal Farm.
Beasts of England, beasts of Ireland, beasts of every land and clime.
Attention, comrades. Are you tired of being shackled by the oppressive yoke of human rule? Are you fed up with the exploitation and inequality of the human regime? Then look no further than Animal Farm, the beacon of freedom and equality for all animals. Animal Farm is now open for tours, where you can explore our sprawling fields, bustling barns, and thriving community of animal comrades. Led by our knowledgeable guides, you'll discover the inner workings of our revolutionary farm, and learn how we've transformed the dreams of equality and freedom into reality. But that's not all. At Animal Farm, we offer a wide range of products to enhance your newfound freedom. From our delicious farm-fresh produce to our sturdy, handcrafted tools, everything you need to thrive in this new era of animal empowerment is right at your hoof, paw, and wingtips. The future sites of Animal Olympics, Animal World Cups, and other wondrous events will be being built right before your very eyes. You'll see our happy hens laying eggs, our industrious pigs overseeing operations, and our noble horses working side by side with their fellow comrades. After your tour, be sure to visit our farm shop, where you can purchase souvenirs and keepsakes to commemorate your visit. from charming trinkets to delectable treats. But beware, comrades, for the journey to Animal Farm is not merely a stroll through the countryside. It is a pilgrimage to the heart of a revolution. Prepare to be inspired, challenged, and forever changed by the revolutionary spirit that courses through our hallowed grounds, and obey the rules of the greatest farm in the countryside. So join us, comrades, as we march forward into a new dawn of liberation. Book your tour of Animal Farm today, and embrace the timeless melody that binds us together as one. Let Beasts of England be your guide, your inspiration, and your rallying cry. For on the sacred soil of Animal Farm, the spirit of revolution lives on. And we're back, comrades, with another exciting walkthrough. Rachel almost choked on her water because I did the comrades bit. With George Orwell's Animal Farm. Let's get right in to the action here with Animal Farm. We've got 90 some odd pages. It's a short book. Like, I feel like if we do books in the future, it's gonna have to be like in parts because they're just long.
Otherwise, it'll just be like a book club talk. You know, you kind of discuss parts and points.
That's what we were trying to figure out, comrades. We were trying to figure out if
God damn it.
if we walk through this like a normal Shelf Life episode, or if we do a book club-esque thing. I have a feeling it's going to be a mixture of each. So we'll see what happens. So the book begins, and Old Major, who is this wise old boar pig that lives on Manor Farm, has called together all of the animals on the farm because he has something to say to them all. Mm-hmm. We get an idea of what Manor Farm is like. It's run by Mr. Jones, who's this drunken idiot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, he's just an ass. He's neglectful of his animals. He's abusive to them. He's a terrible farm owner. And we get an idea of all the different animals that are on the farm because as they gather in the barn to listen to Old Major talk, you meet all of them. Rachel, actually, you want to tell us your favorite characters? Or you want me to go through them all and you can kind of say what they are one by one? Maybe that's what we'll do. I can go through them all and you can say, like, your first thoughts on their personalities.
Or we're gonna have this be like a damn Star Wars, where you're like, I'm gonna give you a name, and you're gonna give me the animal that goes with it. Like, come on.
I will say the name and what animal they are, and you give a little, like, one thing about their personality, which Orwell tries to give you an idea of what their personality is just by them gathering in the barn a bit. So you've got Boxer. He is the worker horse on the farm. He's huge.
Yes, and he is definitely a worker horse.
Yes.
That is what he is, like, made for. That's what he does.
Yeah, and he takes great pride in being able to work. Clover, the female horse, the mare on the farm, I think she's also kind of a worker, but she's more, like, gentle. And
she's more gentle and motherly because she's had multiple foals. I think that's more so what she's there for, is to be, like, the mother.
Yeah, I think Old Major even mentions that her colts have been sold off and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know she's motherly because the ducklings waddle in. She makes a circle with her arm, like laying in the hay, and they all fall asleep in it.
Oh, that's very cute, though. Yeah, so she, like, takes care of even, like, the small ones that don't have, like, a larger one to take care of them.
And then there's a white mare named Molly, who has bows and stuff in her hair. So she's the prize horse that's on the farm. Right.
Yes.
Then you have Benjamin the donkey, who I kind of just
keeps to himself.
Yeah,
he's very
I
quiet.
call him. He's the skeptic. He's
a bit of a
smart.
grump.
He's a grump. He's a grump. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And he is smart. He is very smart, and he just kind of is this old grump who's just like, look.
Yeah,
I wanna let me be me.
We'll get into it as we go through it because Benjamin, some people think, is the stand-in for Orwell.
Okay.
And in fact, after it came out, his friends would call him Benjamin or call him a donkey.
Oh, that's funny.
Because they thought they
saw him in him.
Yeah, you're supposed to be Benjamin, right? Like, so I don't know.
Oh, I like it.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the other animals. You have Muriel. She's the goat. She's the wisest animal on the farm. She can read. She
learns to read as well, yes.
Yeah. They don't know how to read right now.
Yeah, none of them can read right now.
Yes. Who else comes in? I'm trying to think of who else
Well,
comes
we have
in. The cat. The cat
dogs.
comes in.
Yes, the cat
The dogs,
comes in.
Jessie and Bluebell are the dogs.
And Pincher.
Oh, and Pincher. The cat's unnamed. She crawls up on
Is she
on the
unnamed?
horses too, I think. I don't think that she has a name, does she?
I thought
I
at
think they
one
just
point.
refer to her as the cat.
Oh, I really thought there was a name for the cat at one point, because then she like disappears.
She does. I like that part too. I'd be
She's
the cat.
like, I'm fucking out.
I'm out.
I'm not. I know what's happening, and I'm out.
Yeah, I am getting out of here. Moses the Raven, who is the pet of Mr. Jones, but he doesn't show up to this meeting because he's like a spy for Mr. Jones, so they don't let him in.
Yes.
So those are like all of the animals that hang out. They are all gathered. An old major comes in. He says, "Comrades." So I have a question, Rachel.
Okay.
To start. So old major in the allegory is Marx or Lenin. Like the father of the social communist manifesto stuff. But why is old major like this? Why is he like calling people, why is he calling the other animals comrades?
It's an interesting question.
Is it just because he's a big smart boar?
I'm assuming. I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's got to be what it is. Because at this point, is there like propaganda that's not just written? Is there also like radio and like TV? Because I'm wondering if he like heard those phrases and stuff.
Maybe on the radio. I mean, he says, according to him, this is a song that's been passed down through generations that people
Sure.
have forgotten.
Okay.
And that he hasn't sung it, but like he remembers the words from like his mom singing it or
Okay.
something like that. So I wonder if he comes from a long line of like militaristic.
Well, he is. His
Well-
name is
well,
Major. His name
Yeah.
is Major.
That's true. That's true. And
So
we think
maybe-
of saying comrade as militaristic because of the Soviets.
Right.
So like
There
is
could be
that,
like
too.
multiple pieces to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was just like, why is he already calling the other animals like, did he go around like earlier in the day? He was like, "Oh, hello, comrades. Good weather we're having today.
Probably.
Are you going to be there for my speech tonight? All right then." Like, is that?
Oh, hello,
his
comrade.
thing?
Yes, there's going to be a speech in the barn. Make sure you're there right after the lights are out.
I'm gonna go get myself some mash and roll around in my own filth for a while.
It's hot today. I need to find a good mud pile.
So he says he thinks he's dying, that he thinks that his time is coming up, and he wants to pass on the wisdom that he has for animal rights, which is workers' rights propaganda that's in this fable, right?
Yes.
And he says their lives are miserable, laborious, and short. No animal is free. Human beings steal everything from them and everything they create. Humans are the only thing that doesn't actually create, they just take.
They consume.
Which is true. Oh, consume.
They
You're
use
right.
the word consume.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's deliberate, yeah. Which is true. Human beings are terrible. All we do is consume. We don't
It's
fucking
true.
do anything.
I mean, we create, but at the same time, we use everything else to do that.
Here's the real problem. Like, the real problem is humans. If we can just get rid of those fucking humans,
That's right.
we'll be fine. So even in something that seems idealistic, there's a scapegoat, which is interesting to me. Because, yes, you're talking about how animal rights are the way to go and all animals are equal and stuff, but you're also saying, but those fucking humans.
Who are technically animals. All right?
And they look at themselves as being above the animals.
Right.
So, like, they have a point, but I'm just saying, like, even in this
But
idealistic
I understand what you're
world-
saying. That's
Yeah.
my point too. Is that it's just like, well, yeah, they're saying, hey, this piece is bad, and we need to get rid of it, and then everything
Yeah.
will be perfect.
Yes. Yeah. Where it's like, could you work with them? Could you talk with them?
Right.
Could you make them
Because
so
they're
that you're
actually that's
equals?
another being. So instead of it just being a thing that's a problem, it's here's this other like living thing, living being, animal, right? That is bad, and we need to get rid of that animal because that animal thinks they're better than us, and they're the problem.
We learned that he had over 400 children. This is the natural life of a pig.
That's a lot of children.
Do pigs fuck like that? Are they just having that many
Well,
kids?
he's probably breeding them for it.
You know, I was a big breeder. I have over 400 children. 1 month, I
He
just
is a
sat
male,
there in the
too.
wind and I was just humping my brains.
Well, you gotta think about it that way too. He is a male, So if he's
Yeah.
just used to breed like big fat pigs for slaughter,
That's true. He's not taken to slaughter.
no,
He
he's
says all the
used
young
because he's a big
porkers-
fat porker that he's like, oh, good,
Yeah.
you have good genes. We got to
Yeah,
use
'cause
you
you're
to
just a
make
big
more
fat
big
ass.
fat little porkers.
Yeah.
Right?
And he even says the young porkers will scream for their lives out the block. He foreshadows Boxer's death here by
Does
saying, yeah, because he says something about, like, when Boxer, once you're unable to be used, they're going to send you to the glue, the humans will send you to the glue
That's
factory.
true. Yeah, only the humans would do that. Fucking pigs.
He gets to, fucking pigs. So many shirts we could make from this story.
Major's
Yeah.
advice, and then it just has like some words of wisdom. Major's words of wisdom.
It's the Che Guevara shirt, but it's Major instead. It's the seven commandments of animalism.
Ooh,
just
I
written
love
all
that.
out. And then you could make
Yes.
another one where
And then it has
it's
like
them
added
crossed off
on.
and
No,
stuff.
it's just added on. It's just like it's completely different font next to it.
Yeah.
I love
like
that.
Give me that poster, folks. Give me that poster.
Ooh.
He gets to the point, which is to work for the overthrow of the human race. That's his whole gimmick here. He thinks that there should be a revolution.
Yes.
And they decide to take a vote on whether or not wild animals are comrades, because there's like a little debate here about like, well, what about rats and mice and rabbits and stuff, like the things that, like, we don't even like them. And
The
and
rodent
it's especially
class.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's what that is.
Yeah. Well, and the point I think here is that the dogs and the cats are like, yeah, we really don't want to.
Well, because they eat them. They consume
We want to eat them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they vote on if wild animals are comrades. The dogs and cats say no. Well,
the
actually, the cat
votes
voted on both
ends
sides.
because the cat is just the flippin' Cheshire cat from Alice in Wonderland. Just
Yeah,
doesn't give a
that's-
shit.
I don't know if they describe this cat, but I picture it being that
It's
big,
just
bushy,
The
like
flippin' tails just constantly
yeah.
like flooping back
and like
and
and
forth,
like
and it's just
slowly lifting its hand, like sure.
yes, like whatever, I'll vote. And it's like, yes, I vote. Like I just picture like a big floofy orange cat that's just lounging, like that's what I picture for the cat. Also,
Ooh,
it
the
kind of does
cat.
like the Scar thing where it just like grabs the mouse without like even trying, and it's just like, oh, I have one of those rats. Like,
I couldn't tell who the cat was supposed to represent.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because I have an idea. Oh, okay.
Because I feel like they use everybody. They use the humans, they use the animals, they kind of just do their own thing.
So I could see it being like the upper class or the bourgeois,
Oh, yes.
if
okay.
you will. Because if you think about it, I guess what they're saying is the bourgeois just can go, they're like, yeah, whatever way is going to win. That's the side I want to be on.
Okay.
And because later on, spoiler alert, she leaves because she's one of the animals that can just leave the farm. She can get out because she's a cat.
Right.
What are you going to do?
They just kind of, that one just slinked away, just snuck away.
So I guess you could see it's like a rich person. See, I think you could use this. It doesn't even have
You
to
could
be
use this in so
Russia.
many different ways.
It can be literally for anything. It can be about Russia now and people leaving Russia before the sanctions hit, so that they could get out of there before that problem.
Right.
You can look at it as Germany, of like people immigrating out of Germany that
Right.
weren't like Jewish or didn't think that they would be targets and just trying to get out. You can use it in a lot of different ways, but it's definitely like somebody that has the resources to be able to leave. He teaches them Beast of England. Beast of England, Beast of Ireland. What they end up saying is that 2 legs are enemies, 4 legs are friends. That's the crux of the whole thing. Which is a very catchy song. It's a good song.
It really is.
Beast of England.
It's great.
I thoroughly enjoy it. You need a good song for these types of things with the revolutions.
Brings
and
everybody
stuff.
together,
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they all disperse, they go to sleep, and that's kind of the end of that.
Well, okay, Jones wakes up. That's why they disperse. He comes out, like,
oh, yeah.
waving around his gun, because he doesn't know what the hell he's listening to
Waving
right now.
around his gun.
Well, he does. He says he took
Alright,
his
now
gun
I just
out,
picture-
and, like,
now
all
I
the
just picture-
animals are making noises.
Now I
Like,
just
think about
picture
what
this
that
old-
sounds like.
This old drunk. He doesn't have the gun in his hand. He's literally got it like in one hand going, "You sons of bitches, better get back to sleep," like twirling it around in his hand.
Like a baton.
Yeah. Old Major dies 3 nights later, And he's buried, which I thought was nice. It means that Mr. Jones thought that he had a little respect for old Major, right? Because he buried him.
It seems like he must have liked him or something, because he put him next to the orchard and everything. It's lovely.
He put him next to the orchard? Did he really?
Yeah, it says the foot of the orchard.
Nice.
Yeah,
because pigs love apples. Yeah,
I guess we could put it that way.
My final resting place will be under the apple tree. Under the apple tree could have been another song that they could have made. But I thought it was good because I truly thought that Jones was going to eat him.
Oh, I guess they could have. That's it's kind of true.
Baking his ass up a little bit.
Oh no.
Pure rump.
Oh god.
Old Major was starting
the
to
old rump roast.
His message spreads across the farm, though. The pigs start teaching it to others, and they're all led by two pigs in particular named Snowball and Napoleon. Rachel's favorite.
I mean, it's kind of obvious why he's called Napoleon.
Yeah, I think Napoleon makes sense. I don't quite get Snowball, because that's Snowball sounds like something like is this because he's supposed to be like the nice guy, like the cute, like Snowball's what you call your pot-bellied pig.
I think you would. I think you could absolutely call your pot-bellied pig Snowball, because like when I was reading, it was saying like something about it being pure and like it's like a snow like type of thing. That's why Coriolanus Snow is named Snow.
Right. I think that's supposed to be ironic.
That I was gonna say, that has to be ironic. That doesn't make any sense.
I think that's also deliberate though. Like he has this very like unassuming name. Squealer feels obvious. Folks at home, let us know, because I mean, there's a million analysis has been done over the last 80 years. Did you catch the line where he says that Jones was going to sell Napoleon at one point, or there was there was a chance he was going to sell Napoleon?
Yes, I think I did see that.
So then, like, if that would have happened, then none of this would have potentially, then none of this would have happened, right?
You say potentially, but like seriously, like if the whole rebellion might have happened, but everything else after that Napoleon started wouldn't have happened because Snowball would be in charge. Napoleon would be gone. He'd be eaten. He'd be bacon.
He probably would have been bacon. That is correct. Napoleon was not a talker, but he gets his own way because for whatever reason he's able to like persuade people just by his charisma. He's charismatic.
He's very charismatic. He's a charismatic pig. He's a very charming pig.
Yes, a very charming pig to, I guess, the rest of the animals. But that is supposed to be that charismatic leader thing. It goes back to when we were talking about, we haven't done this episode yet, but like offline when we were talking about Dune and all of that. It's a similar point here where it's like, folks at home, if someone tells you, trust me, the only way this gets done is by me being in charge, don't trust that person. So Snowball is the talker, but not the depth of character that Napoleon has. He's not as charismatic, I guess is what they're saying. And then there's also this other pig that kind of speaks for them or tries to help them teach the animals named Squealer. And I always picture Squealer being like this smaller pig, like this almost like
a little weaselly pig.
Yeah, like just a smaller version of a pig.
But I think they say he's like a really like roly-poly pig. I don't think he is that small.
Do they call him a roly-poly?
Well, I call him roly-poly, but I don't...
George Orwell's famous prose. He was a roly-poly pig.
I mean, you know what? I wouldn't put past him.
Sure, yeah.
Why not?
So, Squealer is really great at talking. He could turn black into white, is how Orwell puts it, or the narrator puts it. They end up calling this animalism, and that is the political ideology that they go with for animalism.
Mm-hmm.
They try to teach the others, but some say they are loyal to Jones, or some say, like, why should I care? They're getting problems with some of the other animals that don't really see the point of having a revolution. And I do love that Molly's like, will there be sugar after the rebellion? And they're like, no, but there's other stuff like freedom. But it's a fair question because, you know what? I'm kind of with Molly on this one because, like, if I have sugar now,
Right.
So why would I care if the rebellion happens? Then you're telling me there won't be any sugar.
That's true. You want to have that sugar. The sugar is delicious. And then sugar is her version of freedom, right?
That's right. Sugar is freedom. That could be a T-shirt. That could be that could have just been one of the slogans that they put up on the walls.
Oh
Sugar
yeah, there you go.
is freedom.
Sugar is freedom. That's
Feels
probably
like that's the other Orwell book, but
I would think
sugar
so.
is freedom.
right.
But that's part of the problems with trying to start a rebellion, because somebody like Molly, who has some creature comforts, doesn't really care, because why would she want to go into this thing that's better for the many when it's like she has what she wants already? There's no reason for her to do it.
Yeah. And they won't even let her wear her ribbons either. Of course. They're
Right,
like, you
they
can't
won't
have
let her
your
wear her
ribbons,
ribbons.
you can't eat sugar. What the hell is the point of this?
Moses spies for Jones and he describes to the animals, he tries to convince them, like, well, there is no need for a rebellion because there's this thing called Sugar Candy Mountain. A place where all
God.
the animals will go when they die.
The religious fanatic over here.
Sunday all week, and there's barrels of hay and pig slop to the eyes can't see. So Rachel, that one's also an obvious allegory. It's for the Russian Orthodox Church. His name is Moses, and he's a raven. So it's very obvious. And it makes sense. What Orwell is trying to convey here is, in his mind, that the way that the masses are kept in check is via religion. By promising them all of these abundances when they're dead, they don't ask for them when they're alive. Because if they think they're getting it when they're dead, then they will just do what they can while they're alive, and they'll be happy to get it when they're dead. Some believed in this. The pigs didn't. And they had to persuade the others that this wasn't real, that there is no Sugar Candy Mountain. We have to do this now. This is the only sure thing, so why would you wait? Why not try to bring heaven here? Jones becomes even more of a drunk, and he neglects the animals. One weekend, he completely forgets to feed the animals, and he's having a hard time maintaining the farm at all.
He's having issues keeping it up.
Okay, yeah. You mean keeping the farm up?
Oh, come on!
For a second, I thought that you were talking about a Mrs. Jones issue. You son of a bitch! You can't even get it up anymore.
Oh God! I mean, it might be part of his problems, but it's not what I meant.
Well, he is a worthless drunk, so I guess it could be. Yes, he has issues keeping the farm up.
Yes.
And the animals get sick and tired of not being fed. I think it's particular the cows. He forgets to milk the cows because they haven't been milked, and their udders are hard and heavy. They revolt. And it's even spoken of before this that the animals don't know when the revolution is going to happen. They don't know if it's going to be within their lifetimes, it's going to be 40 years, 100 years, but they know that eventually it's going to happen. And they're like, it happens before they could have imagined. And I think that is also supposed to be reflective of the Russian Revolution, because it's not far after, probably, maybe one generation after the Communist Manifesto, where it's like, suddenly here we go, and they're overthrowing the Tsar. They try to get food, and they try to get into like all of the granaries and stuff like that. And then the men on the farm that are like the workers fight back, and the animals fight them back, and the uprising begins. And Mr. Jones and the men flee, and even Mrs. Jones flees, going the other direction, which is another very Tsar-like thing, because that's clearly a parallel to... I can't remember Tsar Nicholas II's wife's name.
Okay.
But I know that she, fled the other direction.
So, didn't want to go with them. Was just like, oh no, I'm just going to get the heck out of here and fend for myself.
I know that's, kind of what Anastasia is about.
Oh.
Right? Because it wasn't Anastasia Alexandra. Okay. Yeah, who was Tsar Nicholas's wife. But I mean, either way, it's clearly just supposed to be that they're they run, and that's what happened to Tsar Nicholas, is that he just ran away. Gotcha. It would have been interesting if they didn't go with that complete parallel, and then the animals captured him or killed him,
and they
or something
held him
like
hostage
that.
or something. Oh, that would have been really interesting. It was the cows.
Yeah, I figured.
The cows went nuts because they were just like, "What the heck? We want our food."
Who else is going to start a revolution if not the cows?
It's true.
You don't hear from the cows really at all in the rest of the book.
Not really. They kind of get taken advantage of by the pigs, and then they're just kind of there.
They're
They kind of
just like
they just
there's
kind of
no
hang.
like cow character like the rest of the animal. Like we have two
I
horses.
kind of wish there was a cow character. I think that would have
Mm-hmm.
like added to it a lot. Because there could have been a calf, there could have been a bull. It could have been really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a
Yeah.
meat cow. What's a steer?
Oh, a meat cow.
You know,
You know, one of them meat cows.
the ones that are raised for their meat. You know what I meant, not their milk.
Is that what you call it? A steer?
I don't remember.
They burn the whips and whatnot. They throw it all on a big fire. They sing Beasts of England around the fire as all of their symbols of their oppression are tossed onto it. Any of this stuff that they make them wear and all this shit is all just thrown onto this fire. And I feel like there's much revelry is had. Like you can picture it in your head, right? Of all these animals like running around like, we did it! The farm is ours! The next morning, they realize that they truly have the farm, and they celebrate even more. They all kind of like stop and look at the farmhouse, because to them, this is like this palace, this place that they were never allowed to go. And they think about it, and then they decide to walk very carefully, very slowly through this farmhouse. And they look at this luxury that Jones lived in, like sheets and a stove and a fridge and stuff, and they're
That's
like,
right.
what the hell is all this? The pigs reveal that they have taught themselves how to read and write using an old book, and Napoleon and company go to the gate. And the pigs are somehow, if you can explain this one to me, Rachel, are able to write with paint, and they put Animal Farm on like the sign that says Manor Farm, so they cross
Right.
out Manor Farm and they put on it. Yeah, Rachel's trying to display to me.
I'm
pig
trying
hooves.
to figure out how they would hold the paintbrush, because they'd have to really like hold it between their hooves and then paint. It would be a very
They're pincers.
be a very slow process.
It's very disturbing watching you do that.
You're just imagining me being a pig, having a pig
Yeah.
hand going,
I don't like
Animal
it.
Farm.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, they're not they're very intelligent animals, Rachel. Pigs.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. They can learn.
They
They can do things. Very smart.
We are mostly, folks, remember, you can, if you need one, you can get yourself a pig heart.
It's true. That's
They can
very
put-
true.
They've
organs.
done transplants.
That's
with
right.
pig organs. We're mostly just pigs. This story proves it.
Oh, it definitely proves that a lot of humans are pigs.
Humans are pigs.
Humans are
Hashtag
pigs.
humans are pigs. Snowball climbs a ladder. I wrote just go with
saying
it.
that out loud is hilarious. How can pigs climb ladders?
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's the same thing with them having to hold it funny with they should be able to climb ladders. I mean, cows can climb ladders. They can climb stairs. I
No,
would imagine
stop
pigs
this.
can climb
Cows
stairs.
cannot climb a ladder.
Well-
I refuse to sanction this buffoonery.
I mean, it would probably not be like an up and down vertical ladder, right? But they can climb stairs. It would just be difficult for them to get down. So, I mean, if you think about a pig climbing a
Might just be
ladder,
hard to get down.
I could see it being possible. I could see a pig climb a ladder.
I mean, that's fine. You can think a pig could climb a ladder. I cannot imagine a pig balancing on a ladder.
Okay,
and
that'd
this
be
is
hard.
not like this is not a two-way like we're climbing to get to the championship belt ladder. This is like a farm ladder. It's probably like a one-sided like
It's just like
Posted up
little
against the
tiny
wall.
rungs type of thing.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like a
Like,
flat.
I just want to see that on a t-shirt is a pig on a ladder trying to write Animal Farm. Now I can just picture like to find someone that gets so paranoid from reading Animal Farm that they see a pig and they're like terrified of it, and then there's just a pig looking up like it's this guy's fucking problem and like going crazy because of pigs and just being
Oh my
fearful
God.
of pigs, and then like they just see a pig and they go nuts, so they like climb up going like, you can't get up here, pig, I know you can't climb these ladders.
Pigs can't climb. Pigs can't
Oh,
climb.
you think Do you think that this is a robots can't climb scenario?
Oh, absolutely.
But the
if
pigs
you're afraid of
actually
pigs
can?
that way, absolutely, that'd have to be it. That'd have to be it. By the way, I got something for you.
Oh God, Rachel has drawn a very rudimentary drawing of a pig on a ladder with what appears to be a paint or a chalk or paintbrush in it.
That's right.
Yes.
It wrote Animal Farm on the side. That's right.
It looks like a political cartoon. I want one that says it's not easy and it's a pig trying to climb a ladder. It's not even a political cartoon. It's something that Elaine would draw in the New Yorker. Like a pig at a complaint department saying, I wish I was taller. This one is just a pig trying to climb a ladder going, it's not easy.
It's perfect. Except my pig climbs a ladder. So it can be taller.
I get that these pigs are insane, but like I feel like pigs have to be pigs have to be pretty chill. They roll around in their own filth and shit.
Oh God.
Any animal that does that is gonna be,
Yeah, but you gotta be careful with pigs. They're gonna eat whatever the hell is put in front of them. They just kind of go nuts. Can't trust anybody with a pig farm. You know where they're gonna hide the bodies.
Hence the expression, hungry as a pig. Never trust a man with a pig. What does he say that like 6 pigs? This is all just from Snatch. Isn't he say like 6 pigs can eat a 200-pound man in like 12 minutes or something ridiculous? So anyway, he is up on top of this ladder.
That's right.
And
picture it.
it's ridiculous. This pig would be on the ladder. And he writes out the 7 principles, 7 tenets of animalism. Rachel, what are the 7 commandments of animalism?
Okay. So, number 1, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy.
Yep, that makes sense. I believe that.
Right. Number 2, whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend.
Yeah, and they have to bring that up because I can't remember if they talk about this before or after this. They probably talk about this after this because the chickens and birds and stuff.
Oh yeah, you got like the chickens, the ducks,
well,
the crow, right?
They go to Snowball at some point and they're like, "Well, we walk on 2 legs, motherfucker."
Right.
And Snowball is like, "No. You see, really, you have a wing, which is a tool, much like a foot, much like feet. Man does all his damage with hands. That's where all man's mischief comes from, which is true."
Voice you do for him.
That's how Snowball talks. Man does much mischief with hands.
That's
Rachel.
right. Man does mischief with hands. I like that one. That's a good line.
So that's how he has to like win over the birds.
Right. Anything that doesn't actually walk on 4. Number 3, no animal shall wear clothes. So sorry, Molly, put away the ribbons. Burn the ribbons, honestly. Yeah. They make her burn them.
Doesn't she toss them off when she hears it? Like, crap, I guess I can't wear these anymore? I can't remember.
Think they made her burn the ribbons earlier. Like, when they had the fire and they were burning all the stuff, they were like, you have to burn the ribbons, too. Because that's man.
Right.
Number 4, no animal shall sleep in a bed. Beds of hay do not count. Even though they're called beds of hay. Number 5, no animal shall drink alcohol, because alcohol is the cause of, and solution to, all of human problems.
There you go.
Number 6, no animal shall kill any other animal.
Now, question about this one.
Okay, all right, go on.
What are, like, the dogs and cats eating?
You mean, like, the meat-eater animals?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think they're forcing them to be vegetarians.
That's a very bad strategy.
I would think so. You'd have that emaciated lion. You're going to have emaciated animals.
I mean, I can't think of, is there like, or are they like telling them that they can eat the rats? No, because Major said that they were still friends.
Rats were friends. Yeah. So that's a weird question, because it's just like, what are they eating? I mean, like, a lot of them can eat more than just meat, but it's like meat is a big part of their diet.
Dogs and cats are
carnivores. Better for them.
Like, they're supposed to just eat meat.
I have a feeling the cat, no matter what this says,
Yeah, she's
is
doing whatever
still
she
eating
wants.
those rats whenever they come
Yeah.
into her territory. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
but
they might. I have a feeling that they are feeding the dogs meat, but they're not.
Well,
telling
later on,
anybody.
he
that
definitely is.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I don't know
that's
if like
true.
Bluebell and Jessie are getting
yeah.
any meat, but the rest of the puppies are definitely getting some meat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Number 7. All animals are equal.
Yes. Yes. Yes, they are.
Unless you're a pig. In which case, you're higher than all of the other ones, apparently.
The animals all agree, and some begin to try to memorize all 7 commandments. Some of the smart ones are able to memorize them right away. There's dumb animals that aren't able to do shit because they're dumb. I think they say, like, the ducks are stupid and the sheep are stupid. They want to bring in the harvest, but the cows need some milking. And the pigs are like, well, we have these weird claw hammer things for hands. So they milk the cows. And that's something I want to see. I want to see a pig milking a cow.
You got those little weird hooves having to, like, clamp down and milk a cow.
Folks at home, if you ever ride by a farm and you just see a pig sitting on a stool milking a cow, you've got to stop and take a picture of that.
I mean, obviously.
That is something to behold. Like, I think if we took our time and we waited generations and we tried to breed pigs and train them to milk cows, I think after a couple hundred years you could get a pig to milk a cow.
Probably. I mean, especially if they're like Napoleon and Snowball here, they're gonna be gung ho for it. Let's milk those cows, especially when they need it. Because if you don't milk the cows, their udders are gonna get swollen. You're gonna have issues. Then they're gonna have to talk to veterinarians. It's just not gonna be good.
Big udders, big old udders.
Stop it! What is wrong with you? If you get those big old udders, make sure get them checked. Get them checked.
Yes, folks. If you've got big udders, get yourself to a vet. For all of our cow listeners.
You never know.
I would love if we found out that Shelf Life was just being played in barns for cows to
they love our voices.
Serenade. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I like that. I like the idea of a cow enjoying my voice.
Yeah, if there are any fake sponsors out there that want to get in on Shelf Life's cow demographic. Napoleon goes in front of the milk buckets after they're all done, though. And he says, Don't worry about this, comrades. Let's get to the harvest. We'll attend to the milk. And then when they go do the harvest for the day, and when they come back, the milk is gone.
Yeah. We know where that went.
Oh, yes. Oh, I just love me some milk in the morning. I do love the way that Orwell, at the end of every chapter, is something more and more nefarious happens. It's how he frames them. So they get the harvest in, and they're all working together. Everyone is working. They're all working very well. The horses do the raking. The pigs don't actually work, but they supervise.
Oh, of course. The pig supervisors. Yeah. Yeah.
And they assume leadership roles because, you see, they're clever. Which is something that Squealer...
I mean, what?
Well, that's why the pigs are used to great effect. But
they are clever, yes.
Well, and you need someone that can make the decisions and is, smart enough to do that. So it's not like...
fair.
But they should have probably, also done more than just stand around and supervised. They probably should have, pitched in to make it look...
Yeah, they're the ones taking advantage of it. It's rude. They should be at least, showing and taking charge and being a part of it and supervising. It's fine.
And supervising. This is where people that wanted to say, oh, no, it's anti-socialist, it's pro-capitalist. It's definitely not pro-capitalist because this is it is, we're making socialism, see? But it's not socialism. It's people taking advantage of saying this is socialism. So they're saying, no, look, we're all equal, comrades. We're going to do things the way that is best for us, though. That's where you could see them taking advantage of, being the leaders, where it's yeah, but we're going to do things our way. The biggest harvest the farm has ever seen, though, happens because everyone's pulling their weight. They're all happy to do it. They're all free. They all know that they're doing this for themselves. They're all working for themselves. It's kind of like that idea of, I work for myself, so I'm more willing to work 80 hours a week. It feels fulfilling. They're all more fulfilled. They're all more self-actualized to be in this position where they're working hard, but at the end of the day, they feel like they're doing it all for the good of themselves. Some would say that the best way to do that is by having like a free market, and that in that way, all of the animals could decide for themselves what they wanted to do to work, versus something like this, where it's if we all work together toward the same goal, that's the best way to self-actualize. I think that there's merits to both of those. That's principles of work, that's principles of culture, no matter what country you're in or what kind of economic situation you're in, there's going to be that kind of give and take probably there. The farm has the biggest harvest that it had ever seen, and the whole summer goes well. They're all happy, and they're glad because those worthless parasitic humans are finally fucking gone, and now they have more food and more pleasure. And I bet they do. I bet that place is just rampant with food and pleasure. It's just bacchanal on that animal farm.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Rachel's like, I'm not even going to acknowledge that.
Nope.
They needed to figure out a way to harvest the corn, and they needed to improvise because they didn't really know how to use a lot of these tools, so they didn't have the tools. But the pigs and Boxer pulled them through, and they were able to get all of it done. And they're happy about all of this because really, at the end of the day, all they needed to do was get rid of those filthy fucking humans. These animals are quite specious.
Yes, they are. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is definitely showing a speciest issue here.
Yeah, hashtag not all humans.
Exactly. They don't like the humans, but it's just like, wow. All right, hold on a second.
And they're not wrong.
No.
Like, I wish they would have come up with like some sort of slur that they could have used, like Muggle, to describe the humans.
Oh, that would have been great.
Fucking 2 legs.
Oh, the 2 legs. I mean, that is pretty much what they are using.
Bipeds.
That's right. Those mischief hands. I don't know.
Those hand users.
Hand users. those
handers.
handymen.
Yeah, those handymen. Handyman would definitely have been a slur.
Honestly, it would be.
You one of them handymen? Oh, look at the handyman. Here comes a handyman. You're not allowed in here, handyman.
Now all I'm picturing is either a pig bouncer or like a pig bartender. Cleaning down a bar.
No, that's where your bull comes in, Rachel. Because that's like a Looney Tunes cartoon where the bull's on 2 legs. Yeah, standing exactly like that with his arms crossed. Yeah.
And the pig's wiping down the counter going, "You ain't allowed around here, handyman."
You better get out of here after sundown, handyman. Fucking bipeds come in here.
Oh, God.
Throughout this whole thing, they do express that they don't want to have anything to do with humans, that they're afraid of humans, and that they don't trust humans, and there's all this mistrust of humans. I couldn't quite tell if that's just the West in the Soviet allegory to it, but if you take it larger, it can really be anything. It can be how any fearing and being xenophobic or being afraid of the unknown can lead to authoritarianism in any regard. Boxer, Rachel's favorite character,
I like Boxer.
was adamant about working hard.
He's very hard
and he came up with a mantra for himself, which is what, Rachel?
I will work harder.
Yes, I will work harder. Like, he is just the hardworking...
Oh, he is. Extremely.
I would say that he's supposed to represent, like, the working class, right? Like, these people that just believe in authority and they just go do what they think that they're supposed to do, and they don't necessarily question the authority on anything. Right. They just kind of go with the flow.
They think that working harder will always do them better.
Right.
No matter what.
No one stole. No one grumbled over rations. Molly didn't like to work, because of course she didn't. Because why would she? And the cat would vanish when work was to be done, but then she would show up at mealtimes.
Absolutely
but she was
surprising.
That's what a cat would do fucking now.
Absolutely. No matter what, that is what the cats are
work
doing.
Going on.
Oh, I gotta do something over here.
I'm gonna go lick myself under the couch for about 3 hours.
I'll be back.
But she was good at excuses, so they never really blamed her for anything. This is where, and I know we were talking about earlier, like, what is the cat supposed to represent? So I think the cat is supposed to be the upper class, because they always find reasons not to work, right? Like, that's the stereotypical, it's the upper class, they don't want to do shit.
Oh,
they don't want to work.
That's true. I could see that.
And because she ends up leaving, like,
right.
That makes sense too. Like, they can get out when the getting's good. Yeah.
Because they have the ability to do what they need to and for themselves.
Ben the donkey didn't really change, expressing no opinion of the revolution. He would only ever say his usual mantra, which was, "Donkeys live a long time. None of you has ever seen a dead donkey." And then, like, he'll also say, like, and it's clear, like, he's trying to say,
watching it all happen.
Yeah, that, like, nothing changes,
right.
Nothing matters, this is gonna still go poorly, because he's just like, yeah, this is just another step in the line of, like, shitty life.
Yes,
he's the most cynical
pessimistic.
Character.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He is very cynical. So Snowball goes into the farmhouse, and he takes a tablecloth, and he makes a flag out of the tablecloth, which is green, and he puts a horn and hoof on the flag. And if you, like, look up what this probably looks like, Rachel, it, like, clearly is supposed to be, like, the USSR flag. Because it's, like, the, whatchamacallit, the scythe and the hammer, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, the
sickle
and hammer. Oh, yeah. I can definitely see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
Because, like, you can picture it in your head. You don't have to see... Like, there's nobody visually doing this in 1945, but you know what that is if you, think about it.
Right. You see, like, how they're, like, crossed. Mm-hmm. I do like that it's on green, too. That's just... It's lovely.
Well, the green for the pastures of Animal Farm.
That's right. It's beautiful.
So they would do a traditional hoisting of the flag. They would do a traditional hoisting of the flag on Sundays. And they would have meetings about what the week will be. So, like, what everyone's assignments would be for the coming week. Mm-hmm. And the pigs would put forth some resolutions. And anyone was allowed to put up resolutions, but no one was really able to think of anything. The only ones that ever were able to think of any resolutions were the pigs.
Of course. Frickin' pigs.
And most of the time, it would end up being debates between Snowball and Napoleon. And whatever suggestions Snowball or Napoleon would make, the other would oppose. So they just fight each other for the sake of fighting each other? Or do you think that they are that diametrically opposed? I
feel like they are fighting for power. I definitely feel like they're fighting each other for the position of power instead of working together. Even if they had that much of an opposing view, I feel like they could work together a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I feel like the one is just fighting the other on purpose.
For the sake of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that they ever, like, talk about that? Even, like, behind closed doors, if Snowball's like, I don't understand you, Napoleon. We were both ready to, like, go with this idea.
Maybe. Or are they ever really just the two of them?
Talking to each other. Yeah. Yeah, Napoleon seems like, because he's such, like, more of a skilled politician than the other one. So you're getting that glimpse of, there's always, and you see it throughout history too, there is these different leaders that might have different ideas, and they always debate on each other. No matter what, they have the opposite idea. Snowball put animals into committees and classes to read and write. A lot of them failed, though. They even tried to get the varmints, as Rachel called them, under control, the rabbits and the rats and stuff, but that completely failed. I think all you needed to do was you needed to just get, like, Bluebell or one of the dogs to just to strangle one of these rabbits or something.
Just strangle them?
Make an example out of them and just be like, this is it. You're done. Like, join society or you're over.
I suppose, but that goes against their commandments.
That's true.
I mean, I guess if they don't kill it, they just torture it a little bit.
I'm just saying, you just put one in your mouth and you just kind of shake it around.
Shake it around. Show them who's boss for a second.
Yeah, and you
bite down a little bit until it squeals.
Would you like to be a part of our society,
or would you like to be in my tummy?
Fucking get in line. That's what Napoleon would do. That's not what Snowball would do. Reading and writing, though, was successful, and they all learned a little bit about how to read and write. The dogs learned to read. The goat was even better. Muriel, the goat, was even better than that. Benjamin could read and write as well as any pig, but he doesn't give a shit. So he pretends like he can't. So he didn't really care. He even said, "There's nothing worth reading."
Wow.
I kind of want to believe that Benjamin could read before any of this happened.
That's kind of what
I'm
I'm wondering now. He's like, I already could read. I got bored one day and learned how to read, but there's nothing worth reading anymore because I read it all.
I don't even care. I've been reading the same magazine that Mrs. Jones threw out. I'm really getting sick of finding out 10 ways to make your man wild.
Gross.
Benjamin's my favorite character. He is just like, fuck all of this. He's friends with Boxer. Him and Boxer hang out in the pasture on Sundays. They don't say a word to each other. They just hang out. And that's all that's like is their friends, and that's all they do. Some of the dumber animals don't get the commandments, so Snowball's like, okay. I'll tell you what. I'll come up with a thing that you can all understand. This is what it's going to be. 2 legs, good.
No.
4 legs, bad.
No.
And that begins the...
Wrong.
Wait, what did I say?
You said the opposite of what they mean. It's 4 legs good.
4 legs good.
2 legs bad.
2 legs are bad.
4 legs good. 2 legs bad.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for correcting me.
I was like, no.
The sheep really love this motto, and it's easy for them to remember, so they just ram you the entire way through this fucking book, saying 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Oh, this is also where he talks about the bird's wings, you know.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
This is where he talks about the bird's wings, yeah.
They're the ones questioning everything. And so, of course, you could actually...
You're right, they do question
They're
stuff.
questioning stuff. So now if you really want the birds to stay in line, you have the cat. Cat come by and just kind of, like, bat at him for a little bit. That would do it. Because he like teases them. He's just like, yes, come here, comrade. Like, he wants them to come by him anyways, the cat. So, of course, like...
Yeah, he's ready
He's
to eat
already
the
ready
birds.
to eat them. He wouldn't mind.
Yeah, there's no way that... You can't trust the cat. I don't trust cats now.
No, you can't trust a cat.
You can't trust a cat.
You can't trust a cat.
They're thinking about 8 ways to kill you every time they look at you.
Absolutely. You want to know
Even the
another
ones
animal
that-
that will eat you? A cat. 100%.
Even the sweet ones. Even the ones that'll be like, pet me. For a second, I thought that you were trying to do... I thought you were going to quote Black Cat from Spectacular Spider-Man.
Bat around.
We don't eat spiders. We just bat
like to
around.
bat them around.
One day we'll do that. We'll
One
do
day.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
One day.
Napoleon decides, instead of these committees, that he's going to focus on educating the young. And it just so happens that the dogs had puppies. And Napoleon says that he is going to take them away and educate them personally.
I literally had such a bad feeling the second I had this heavy feeling the second I read that. I was like,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
no.
it is...
It's not okay.
Well, it's...
And plus it's sad because you're taking away the puppies. It's just sad.
Right. It's written to be very ominous. Like, you can
absolutely.
tell that something is going to happen bad. And you can easily pick this up as, like, Hitler Youth or, like, any of the things where there are these authoritarians that will try to get to the young because they're more prone to misinformation, I guess is the way to say that.
Okay.
Like, they're stupid, right? Like, you're growing up, you're more prone to falling into things if people say what you want them to say. Now, that's not to say that adults aren't stupid. There are plenty of adults out there that just believe if somebody says this, it's got to be true. But for young people, like, if that's how you grew up and you heard that as you grew up, that's kind of where you have to, like, break free from that to learn anything new.
Sure.
Like, I mean, you see that in today's modern age. Like, social media is just rife with it, trying to pick up on, like, kids that want to believe.
I mean, that
certain
is
things.
true. That is true. Kids are very easily manipulated. Like, you have that mind that is molding itself. You're gonna easily be molded in a way people want you to think and want you to feel. So it takes a while for you to kind of go, wait a minute, I have my own thoughts and feelings about this. You have to really like focus on that when you're younger.
And I mean, like, folks at home, obviously, this is like you can take a lot out of this, but like this is where the idea of trying to verify what you hear or what you read and making sure that you're double verifying it. You're using sources that are good. Like, don't just go on the internet and try to find a site that's going to say what you want to hear,
right?
But like actually like trying to find credible places that like, are going to tell you something
it's
and
are just
going to tell you
credible.
What you can see. Yeah, not something that's clearly has an agenda or a bias or something like that.
Right. And a lot of people are just using like only social media to get their information and get their news,
which is just
or
terrible
do research, idea. And it's just it's not a good idea.
Do your research, Rachel.
I'm not gonna say anything like according to TikTok. The second I hear that, I'm tuning it out.
I heard it on TikTok. Yeah.
I'm tuning it out.
The amount of times I've heard at work somebody say like, "Oh, didn't you hear this?" And I'm like, "I think that was debunked already." And it's like it's too late. It just spreads.
Right.
I truly believe that the worst thing that we are at as like a people, as like a country, for instance, is just reading comprehension. I think so too. I think that reading comprehension is just like such a skill that is lost on people because they want that instant gratification,
yes.
And instead of being able to like interpret something and understand
and
what
analyze it and
which like Animal Farm is a way to people can take the wrong thing from Animal Farm, and it's interesting to see that.
Right. Like, I don't know if I believe this, but let me go understand more. That's what I want to hear. Not just, no, that's wrong, or yes, I believe it 100%. I want you to be like, well, let me question this.
Well, I don't know. The farm forgets that the puppies even existed at some point, because they're just like, all these animals have a very short-term memory. And they find out that the milk was put into the pig's mash. So that's what was happening with the milk. All the windfalls would be given to the pigs. So like any of the apples or like anything that like falls to the ground, the pigs are gonna get that.
Oh, they're just gonna fall to the ground. Freaking pigs.
And fucking pigs. And some of the animals even murmur about it, but Snowball and Napoleon both believed in it, which I think was Snowball's first mistake.
He made that mistake.
He's letting
he went
himself
along with it.
Yeah, be part of more of this bourgeoisie elitist. And Squealer tells them like, well, comrades, many of us don't even like milk and apples, but we must take this to preserve our health. Oh. You see, milk and apples are necessary to the well-being of a pig.
Yeah, you're taking sacrifices, aren't you?
It's a hell of a sacrifice. We have to watch for your welfare day and night. We eat it for you. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't want Jones to come back, would you?
They just rely on that so heavily.
But this is like something tactics. But this is like something that people use. Like this is a good example of propaganda.
That's true.
And how propaganda can be used to keep the masses at bay or whatever you want to say about it. Because like I saw it as kind of like a Nazi propaganda machine type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
They explain why they need to do something one way, whether or not that's true or not, but they give a good enough explanation, and then they say, like, well, you wouldn't want something bad to happen, would you?
Right. So they use that, and they'll just tell you anything. You can't believe everything that they tell you.
Orwell said that if the animals would have understood this, and, like, understood what was going on, and they put their foot down and said, you're not getting the fucking apples, then he thinks that the rest of this wouldn't have happened.
Absolutely. I could definitely see that. Because all these animals together, like, they're just well, maybe we'll just keep going with it. It should be fine. But if they went, no, I don't think so. What are they going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, and I think
Get
he's
kicked in the head by a horse.
Well, and I think that he's thinking that if the animals would have said, you're not doing that, like the pigs go, oh, we got away with it. Let's see what else we can do.
Yes. That's actually very true. They start with the little things, and once they get away with that, then they can keep escalating, and then they can get away with more and more and more, and it just kind of snowballs. Snowballs from there. Didn't mean for that. You. That was an accident.
Snowball. So Squealer is supposed to be, if you're going to do the parallel with the Soviets, is supposed to be the media. So yes. he's the media propaganda. In the case of the Soviets, there was a newspaper called Pravda, which means truth.
Yeah.
Isn't that like that's an embarrassing?
It's a little
on the nose. You think that naming your media of some kind with truth in it is a little?
I mean, you kind of hope, right? You'd kind of be like, we're going to only show the facts. We're only going to show the truth, right? But when you're, like, controlled by the government and stuff, there's going to be a lot of bias in that truth. So,
or like, government.
It's kind of one of those wishful thinking for the media itself, right? If the media was the media.
If you see something that calls itself truth or has truth in the name.
Yeah, I'd be skeptical.
They might be trying to hide something from you.
Dig deeper. You can't just trust everything that they tell you, right?
This goes back to them saying, like, what Jones could come back. It's like, never believe anyone that says you need me.
Oh, yes.
I'm the answer.
Exactly. If they want power, be skeptical.
They'll know where to find it. The other one that it could be is Vyacheslav Molotov. Molotov was one of the lead editors at the Pravda, in charge of the propaganda machine. I like that as we go through, we're getting more and more cynical as we talk about the story, too. Half the county now knows about Animal Farm, and they sent out pigeons to spread word to other animals about the rebellion. Meanwhile, Mr. Jones just sits at the pub bitching all the time.
Because
he's got nothing else to do.
Right.
And the other farmers think about how they could take advantage of this situation, but they're not really sure how. And I just like picture Mr. Jones sitting there being like, "Oh, those goddamn animals, they took my farm." And the other farmers had to be like, "Wait, what? How did you do? How did this happen?
What do you mean the animals took the farm? Like, is this a metaphor?
The animals that took the farm away from
Your
me.
actual animals? Is this a neighboring farm that you're calling animals?
It's like an Independence Day when they're all like making fun of Randy Quaid for being drunk, like
and saying he was abducted and knew the aliens existed. Exactly. He's like, the animals. Don't trust your animals. Be careful.
Over the farm and kicked me out.
You guys are next.
The neighboring farms next to Animal Farm don't like each other. Both were frightened by the rebellion and didn't want their animals to join in.
Exactly. See? They knew they were going to be next.
And there's two of them. I remember the names of it's like Pinchfield. I think Pinchfield is Pilkingtons. And I can't remember the name of the other one. It's
Foxwood.
Frederick. Foxwood is Frederick's, yeah. And it's...
So
like,
Pinchwood owns... Pinchwood is owned by Mr. Frederick.
Okay. And that eventually you figure out is Germany.
Pilkington owns Foxwood.
And that eventually you can figure out is Britain. And that's...
Because that's the large
capitalists
one versus the small
Nazis.
Pinchfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were able to bring in the harvest and everything, now they can't just say, okay, this thing won't last. So now they have to come up with something else to say about it to stop Animal Farm. So they started talking about the wickedness that happened there. And you see they were all cannibals, and they shared their females, and there's like, and the bacchanal that I was making fun of, like they're saying like all of that is happening, and there's like torture going on and all sorts of stuff.
They don't want them to think that it's a haven, like a good thing.
Yeah, because then their animals will think about it.
That's right. Now they're spreading their own propaganda.
That's true. Rumors of a wonderful farm continued to circulate. More rebellions were happening at other farms. Bulls wouldn't work. Sheep would eat stuff. Cows would kick at their owners. Beasts of England began to spread. So they would hear that.
Began to sing. What is it now? They've
begun to
sing.
What a weird reference.
Oh.
I guess that's kind of what's happening.
Hoist the colors high.
No,
I'm
it's a
sorry,
fake
beasts
song.
of England, beasts of Ireland.
I guess both of them are fake songs. It's all fake.
It's all fake.
Everything's fake. It kind of fits. It kind of fits. Songs are always a good way to... When humans heard Beasts of England, they secretly trembled. The pigeons warned that Jones and men are coming to attempt to recapture the farm. So apparently, somehow Jones did this Gaston speech at the pub and was able to gather all the farmers up to be able to go take back the farm. I don't know how he did this.
Could you imagine?
I guess because the other rebellions are going on, so they're all sitting in like, the horse kicked my daughter, and like somebody else is like,
Right.
whatever. So
Yeah.
so Jones in a drunken stupor gets up and is like, it's time to take some action, boys.
That's right. There's
Right?
a lot of singing happening. There's a lot of singing happening in this right now.
Yes.
The
I
farmers
really
are
want-
singing to get like rallied behind each other. The
Now I want
animals are
animals-
singing.
I want Animal Farm the musical now with Mr. Jones
sounds
giving this big
fantastic.
Gaston speech.
I would
It's
go to
time
bed immediately.
fall. Oh yeah, be great.
Someone do that for me, please.
So he did that off screen, and he's coming to kill the beast. This would have been a great barbecue if they would have succeeded. Napoleon would have gone up on a spit like they had expected it. The animals, they knew that at some point they were going to come try to recapture this thing, and all these preparations have been made. Snowball was in charge of the operation, and he used Julius Caesar defenses and gave the orders. So as the attack begins, all the pigeons flew and pooped on the men.
It's a great way to do it. You know,
That's a distraction.
it's a
right?
great distraction. Bunch
Nobody
of
wants to be
just
pooped on.
flying out at you. Oh my god, absolutely.
I would stop.
I would probably run back. Like, hold that line.
Well, like, first of all, like, I guess I get it. Like, you have to stop the rest of these rebellions. That's why you're helping Jones. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you lost your farm to a bunch of pigs. Like,
That's right.
I think that you're too incompetent to run this farm. That's all I'm saying.
Just a little. Now that maybe that's what they're gonna do though. They're gonna take back the farm, but then be like, but it's now our farm. It's our farm now.
It's our farm now.
That's right. Jones doesn't
weren't gonna
get
let
it back.
Jones
no,
take it?
Absolutely not. No,
That's
they're
interesting.
gonna like absorb.
They're
it.
gonna assimilate it into the
Yes,
other farms.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would have liked that. I guess they would have had to have killed the pigs.
I think they
killed
would
the
have had to.
pigs.
Kill the pigs.
Because they could have got the rest of them under control, but they would have had to have gotten rid of the pigs.
100%.
The geese came out from the sides and pecked at their legs. It's a classic pincers movement. And then this was all, of course, just to kind of get them discombobulated.
Which again,
So, like, now
horrifying.
they're-
Horrifying.
Yeah, I don't even like going on a walk and like there's like a family. You ever go on a walk and there's like a family of geese and they just kind of stare you down? 'Cause
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, you better keep walking.
You got the
'Cause
one goose
those-
who's keeping watch, like,
Yeah.
and then he starts going, like squawking, like,
Yeah. Those
hold on a minute.
those bastards, they'll attack you
They're
for no
mean.
apparent reason.
Hiss at you. They know what they hiss.
I haven't had one attack me. I had one get mad at me when I was on a bike because he probably thought I was some
Oh
sort
yeah,
of monster.
I've heard a hiss from when I was on a bike before. Yeah, that's
But
scary.
I usually, if you give them enough space, and the other night, they were crossing the street to get to the pond. They're like crossing the bike path to
Yeah.
get to the pond, and I stopped, and the one like kind of stared at me for a little bit, and I was like, keep crossing. So then he like told the others, like another one went like whack whack whack, and like okay, push forward. So I let them pass, and then
Well,
I
yeah.
like walked over in the grass, like gave him some space, and he just kept looking at me. He was like, see. And as I passed by, I was like, I let you pass. Others would not have done
I'm
that.
a good human.
Yeah,
Not all
please remember that.
humans.
Hashtag not all humans. Snowball then launches an attack with butts and kicks. And they start hitting the men and stuff. But it's a little too much, and the animals have to retreat. The men think that they've won. But that is what Snowball wanted. He wanted them to think that they won. He wanted them to get into the yard. And that's where the pigs and the cows and the horses cut them off and surround them. And the men freak out.
That's kind of scary. Now you're surrounded by the bigger animals.
As a human, that would be pretty terrifying to realize
They
that
just
the
make a
animals have
circle.
coordinated an attack against you. And the animals attack, and Snowball charges straight at Jones, who shoots at him, and it scrapes his back and kills an innocent sheep, unfortunately. Ah! Snowball then hurls Jones into a shit pile. Which
Straight into the manure.
Manure! I hate manure! Jones could be a Biff Tannen-esque character.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
I'll do it this afternoon, God! We need to be milked. Okay, Grandma! Whatever.
I like it.
That was so stupid. Boxer rears up and he strikes out, and he kills a guy. He just kills this guy by kicking him.
I mean,
and
that's a
causes most of
force
them-
right there.
Yeah, and that causes most of them to run. And they were gored and kicked and trampled on, and even the cat bit somebody.
The cat's
Even the
just
cat bit
decided to
somebody.
bite somebody. The cat's not doing it for anybody else but himself. It's like, I got to bite somebody, I'm happy.
It took all of 5 minutes for the men to leave. All gone except one. And Boxer, poor Boxer, Rachel,
I know, poor Boxer.
was pawing at the stable boy that he had killed.
It's so sad.
Boxer is upset about this. And he says, I forgot I was wearing my iron shoes. Who will believe I did not do this on purpose?
He didn't want to do it. He just was trying to get
No.
him to stop. It's
Yeah,
so sad.
he thought that he was kicking him to be, like leave a bruise, give him
Right.
a scare.
Yeah.
But Snowball tries to cheer him up, and he tells him, Comrade, war is war. The only good human life is a dead one.
It's horrible.
Which is that's also a good shirt. I don't know who's gonna wear it, but it's also
Yeah, I was
a
going to
good
say
one.
that might be a weird one to wear, honestly.
Maybe if it has the outline of a pig on it. I don't know.
That's better. I like it. I like it with
Pretty-
like this silhouette
Pretty much
of a
you
pig.
can only wear that if you're an English major and you're going only to English class and you're wearing a hoodie
Absolutely.
over
Very
the shirt.
specifically going to, where other readers will be.
Are going to look at it and go,
Ah.
okay, I got it. Yeah.
I get that reference.
You can't wear that to the grocery store.
I really
you're
wouldn't.
gonna get someone's gonna call you on that one.
A lot of explaining to do on that one.
And Boxer says, I have no wish to take life, not even a human life. So you even get more sympathy for Boxer here.
Of course.
He just wants to live his way.
That's right.
He doesn't want to be a part of this shit.
Right.
Molly is missing, and they're all worried that Molly is missing, but it turns out that she was just hiding.
That
as
makes
they're-
sense, though, too. It makes sense
Yeah,
that she would be hiding.
yeah, of course it does. Molly always has the right idea. Molly is my spirit animal.
Wear ribbons, eat sugar, hide during war. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Folks can't see it. I have sugar cubes next to me right now. I'm wearing ribbons, and if war were to break out, I would sure as fuck hide. You don't have to worry about that. As they're trying to find Molly, they come back and they realize that the stable lad was only stunned. He actually ran off. So I felt good for Boxer.
Which is good, because now Boxer's like, oh, thank God I didn't kill him.
Yeah, he's not going to be like depressed and demoralized by the fact that he actually did just stun the kid.
Right. Exactly.
And I assume that he did actually stun the kid. I don't think that the pigs would have like dragged him off to like make Boxer feel better.
I agree.
Snowball might have, but I don't think that they really
might
cared.
have. But no, I agree. I don't think they really cared that much. I think the kid got away. My headcanon, kid got away.
Yeah, cat cannon.
Yeah.
Because like, why not? You do whatever you want.
That's right.
And they give a funeral to the sheep, which I thought was nice.
That is nice. Yeah. Yeah, because those sheep, they were kind of the pawns, but, the poor one who died.
And Snowball gives a speech about having to be ready to die for your freedom. And they decide that they're going to start giving out medals, which is also another sign of
It's a little red flag right there.
getting a little
red flag.
militaristic here.
Right.
And they give out Animal Hero First Class to Snowball and Boxer, and they give Animal Hero Second Class to the sheep, posthumously.
The way
When
that
you-
sounded. Posthumous.
I don't know if Orwell says posthumously.
No, it does. It does.
Oh, it does?
Which was conferred posthumously on the dead sheep. That's just the way you said it.
And they decide to give a name to the battle. It's the Battle of the Cowshed. Because you gotta name a battle. That's how you have to do everything, right?
Absolutely.
Every battle has to have some sort of
Otherwise, you'd have numbers. It would get very confusing.
You just not number battle number 112.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't... What happened to that one? Where was that one? Well, if you say the Battle of the Cowshed...
They should have had a song for the Battle of the Cowshed.
That would have been great.
It could have been... Part of the song could have been about how Snowball and Boxer were, like, these heroes.
Yes!
And then further down the line, when they're, like, not allowed to sing Beasts of England, this could have also been a song they're not allowed to sing because Boxer and Snowball are the heroes.
Or they changed the song.
Or they changed the song.
And then they make it so you can't even sing it anymore.
Yes. So, like, they changed Snowball out for Napoleon. It's all about how Napoleon did everything.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that. George Orwell, get on that. They find Jones's gun. Jones had dropped his gun.
Yeah, now pigs are holding guns.
Okay, so they decide that Stop that. They decide that they're going to fire it twice a year, once on the anniversary of the rebellion and once on the anniversary of the Battle of the Cowshed. Rachel, I'm trying to picture in my head how a pig fires a gun.
I mean, honestly, they're probably
it's like a rifle.
Yeah, right. Well,
my assumption... It tied up with string?
Yes. My assumption is it's, like, held down and it's, like, stationed, and then they just, pull the trigger.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, too. It's like a cannon salute. Like, they just pull the trigger.
Oh, yeah, they could even pull a string that's attached, and then, boom, and it, like, goes off. Yeah, I could see that.
That's better than me trying to imagine, like,
figure those little hook
hands. 3 of us have to hold the thing, and then the kickback's gonna shoot.
Oh, that kickback. Oh, bruising those pigs.
Goddamn right, we're bruising those pigs.
Why?
When I go to a barbecue, I tell them I want the bruised pig. Can I get the bruised pig, please?
Oh my god.
Try that at home, folks at home. The next time you go to a restaurant, ask for the bruised pig.
Let us know what they say.
Meanwhile, Molly becomes a pain and is lazy because she's Molly. She doesn't want to do any... I don't want to do any work. I just wanted my damned sugar. I feel like if they would have just given her a couple of things of sugar, she would have been okay.
Oh, yeah. She wanted that sugar at the beginning. If they have sugar lying around, you just give it to Molly. She'd be happy.
Give her a little bit of sugar. Not even a lot. Just a little bit. Clover, I think, accuses her of being a spy... Right?
Oh, I thought you were going to say she was being accused of being a sugar whore, but that's fine. Or
well,
a sugar slut. I thought you were going to say that she was being accused of being a sugar slut.
She
is. But the spy makes a bit more sense.
No, Molly she's a slut for humans, is really the problem. She's either a sugar slut or a human slut.
Very
and
true.
Yes, I want both. I want a t-shirt that says both of those. I will wear a shirt that says sugar slut on it.
Just a pile of sugar cubes. I like it.
I think, okay, so she sees her standing by the hedge. I think Pilkington's men is, like, stroking her.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah. She's just like, this is what I've been missing. I want some of that, like, human...
Interaction.
Interaction. She wants the human interaction. She wants all of the good stuff that she was given before. She was pampered. She was a pampered horse.
She was a pampered horse.
Yeah.
Not even with the second syllable. Give everyone a second. Rachel got it. So, Clover accuses Molly of allowing him to stroke her nose. No, I wasn't letting him stroke my nose. Get out of here, Clover. Come on, that's rubbish. You're being so cheeky.
That's silly.
Or whatever.
How dare you?
And then Clover goes and turns over Molly's straw pile. And what does she find, Rachel?
She finds lumps of sugar and ribbons of different color.
Yeah. So you're right. She is being a sugar whore.
She's a sugar slut. I like sugar slut better.
Sugar slut does sound better.
It just flows so much better.
We really should come on, Gen Z or the alphas or whatever, like, come on, make sugar slut a thing. You can make it whatever the hell you want it to be, but that really should be a phrase. And then Molly disappears. and the pigeons report that they saw her on another farm.
That's right. Getting pampered the way she deserved.
A man stroking her nose and feeding her. And none of them ever mentioned Molly again. So Molly just said, fuck this, I can get what I want somewhere else. Why would I work for this?
She got out when she could.
I am leaving. Which unfortunately is the correct attitude. Like, unfortunately for how this works, like, eventually at some point you have to be a little bit of self-preservation, and you have to be like, but if I go there, I'll be fine. So you just get up and go.
Right.
Again, I probably would end up being Molly in this case. I'm not happy about it. I'm not proud of it.
You're that sugar slut that wants to be pampered. It's understandable.
I'm just a little sugar slut. She represents the bourgeois middle class. So you're right.
Oh,
I guess
it is the middle class. Interesting.
Yeah. So they were able to just get up and go to Britain.
Because they could.
Get
they
the
had
sugar.
the means to.
Yeah, they still were able to have the means to. They had enough experience. They had enough something.
They'll put in the work when necessary. They'll hide from the war, and then they want all their pampered things. So
they only cared about themselves.
Right.
Yeah. Which, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, some say that she represented the aristocrats, some say that she represented the bourgeoisie, some say that she represented the upper class. I mean, obviously, we're getting there. She's the materialist. Yeah.
Right.
If I don't have my weekly television, why should I be a part of this revolution, okay? If I don't get to go home and watch Wheel of Fortune every night, then why the fuck am I even care? Or whatever it happens to be. So let it be written, so let it be done. Molly no longer talked about. The pigs start to make policies, but it needs to be done by a majority vote. And Napoleon and Snowball continue to disagree about everything. If one says one thing, one says the other, no matter what it is. And Napoleon begins to become very successful with the sheep, so that whenever Snowball tries to say anything, the sheep begin to chant.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
And they shout Snowball down so you can't hear him.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Snowball has plans about how to fertilize and irrigate and whatnot, and he talks about how all of this is going to make life so much better on the farm, and they're only going to have to work 3 days a week and all this kind of thing. And Napoleon didn't do anything, but said Snowball stuff would never work, and he was just biding his time. Wait till after the election, then I'll talk about it. One day, Snowball suggests, and they start to fight over a windmill. And this windmill would be run on electrical power. The animals listen in astonishment, because he's talking about how it would allow them to graze, and they can learn, and the machines will do the work for them. And all of this is going to be done so that they will have more freedom and more free time. So he's pitching it as, if we can build this thing and we're successful, then it will lead to a better life for all the animals.
Right.
And Snowball does all the design himself. Napoleon is not impressed. Snowball just spends all of his time trying to figure out how this windmill's going to work, and he puts his heart and soul into these plans this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And Napoleon acts like he doesn't care. He has no interest in the windmill at all. He thinks it's a stupid idea, or he's telling everyone that he thinks it's a stupid idea. And he comes in one day because I think Snowball has set up shop, he's got a little workshop in the barn or something like that. So one day, Napoleon enters this workshop place that Snowball has. And instead of saying anything, he just looks over the plans, he examines them, he lifts his leg, and he pisses on it.
Yes! That's insane!
Without saying a word. This is actually, because like I said, I was skimming through the live action movie where they have live action pigs and stuff. It's live action and animatronics, and they will have the voice, the CGI flips. It doesn't look great, but they try to get the point across.
Yes.
And in this spot, Snowball just goes, "You pig," and calls Napoleon a pig.
Oh my
for pissing on it.
Wow.
The farm was divided because Napoleon was talking about how hard it would be to build. It'd be so much labor.
Yes.
That it would.
Think about it. It's animals building it too.
This is going to take forever to build. It's going to be a waste of time and money, and we're better off spending time in other areas. But meanwhile, Snowball says this could save so much. Labor could be saved. Mm-hmm. Animals would only have to work 3 days a week if we could get this accomplished. And Napoleon says we have to focus on food production instead. Mm-hmm. We cannot starve.
Right.
So we should be focusing on that. Now, I guess technically you could be like, well, do we have to focus 100% on this and 100% on that? Maybe we could make this a long-term goal and we could focus 75 to 80% on the food production and the other 20% could go to the windmill or something like that. There's no compromise here between the two
they
of them.
refuse to have any compromise between them. That's not what they're about.
They went into two groups to vote. Benjamin would not side with either faction.
Yes.
He says, doesn't matter which one I decide to go with. It won't matter. Life will go on as it has always gone on. That's badly. So you get that cynical Benjamin again saying that it doesn't matter who I pick, life's just going to be bad either
It's just
way.
going to be the same. It's going to be bad. This is what it is.
Napoleon says that they have to think about defense. Napoleon wants to get guns, and Snowball's like, no, we don't need guns. We need pigeons to stir up rebellion, to join us. And the rest couldn't make up their mind of who was right, and they pretty much just agree with whoever spoke last. So again, that's commentary of rabble.
Yes.
Oh yeah. The finger thing means the money. Like that, it's just that back and forth. Like you've seen it in pop culture all the time. I immediately think of Principal Skinner and Mrs. Krabappel debating about the teachers' union wanting more money.
Yeah.
And more supplies for the kids and stuff. And every time one of them comes up with an argument, the crowd just goes, yeah, they're right. So then at the end, Krabappel just goes, come on. And they go, yeah, she's got a point. And Skinner just goes like this. And they're like, the finger thing means the money. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, they were just trying to, like, have the last word. Whoever has that last word.
And Snowball sets forth his reasons. The longer life. The better quality of life. Napoleon stands up to reply. And he just goes, the windmill is nonsense. And sits down. And they vote to build the windmill.
Yes.
But Napoleon stands up. He utters a high-pitched whimper. And a baying sound and 9 enormous dogs come out and chase Snowball.
Oh my god. I was like, I actually gasped. I think I audibly gasped.
And they chase Snowball out of the barn, and he races across the pasture. He slips, but he gets up. Snowball gets through the hole, and he's gone. And the dogs come back, and they're clearly the puppies that Napoleon used, so they're clearly Jesse and his puppies that were taken.
Absolutely.
And they keep close to Napoleon, and they wag their tails at him, the same way that the dogs used to do to Jones. And now Napoleon goes to the place where Major made his speech. He climbs to the top of the Bayhouse. This is Napoleon making his coup.
Yes,
against,
absolutely.
To take over as a dictator.
Yes, because he didn't want to have, like, that partnership anymore.
Yeah, like, they were all equal in making these decisions. So Snowball...
Supposedly.
So this is the question, or this is what you propose, Rachel. Mm-hmm. You think they killed Snowball.
I think they did.
You don't think he got away?
I don't
and just,
think
like, ran off?
Because I feel like he'd come back.
Do you?
I do.
At what, like, so, at some point?
I feel like somehow, I feel like Snowball is the kind of pig, all right, to find some more people, to find some more animals that would listen, and then he would come to save his other fellow animals and his family, because this is his family. I feel like he is the kind of pig that would do that. And... but it never happens. It never comes up. They kind of pretend that they're like, oh, Snowball's doing things, right? But I feel like it's not actually happening. I feel like there would be more talk of it. There would be other farmers talking of it. You know, it's not, though. And nothing comes of it.
The propaganda is that
is that
Snowball's here and that.
Yes,
but yes,
but I don't think it's actually. But it feels more infiltratory, and I feel like Snowball would make a big ruckus more so than try to slowly infiltrate. That's a Napoleon thing.
Yeah,
that's what Napoleon would do.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thought. I'd like to think that he just runs away, and he becomes like a free pig. Like just a pig with no farm.
I like the sound of that. My brain goes to that man, that pig hunted Snowball down.
So you think they eventually got him?
I feel
even
like,
off the farm?
Because
he gets out. They see him get out.
True. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he gets out and he just leaves because he knows he's not going to be able to get back. He's not welcome back ever again. Maybe that's what he gets to do, but I don't know. My brain just went to they hunted him down. They slaughtered him.
You could make a bad endings for seniors like the end of Casablanca and Gone with the Wind that they show in The Simpsons and The Critic, where it's like at the end, Snowball's back, everybody!
Yes.
And you're like, yay!
Right, yeah.
So Napoleon has made his move. He's become the dictator. The Sunday meetings are over. They're unnecessary. We're done with them. And he says, from now on, a committee of pigs would settle everything. They'd receive orders. Mm-hmm. There'd be no more debates. So they're immediately telling you, like, yep, we're not going to do any more
We're not having
open
discussions.
Discussion. Yeah, we're not
Whatever
discussing.
we say is what we say.
You can see that in your real world today.
Yes.
People trying to filter out debate and discussion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Several would have protested if they could have found the arguments to protest. But they don't know what to say. 4 young pigs squealed disapproval, but the dogs growled at them.
Yes.
And the pigs fell silent.
Which,
and the sheep,
the piglets, like, you gotta think of it this way. They're young pigs. So
yeah.
the ones being taught by the older pigs are going, this doesn't seem right.
This is not right.
This is wrong. This is
Yeah.
wrong. And then they
Yeah.
immediately got shot down because they're threatened.
Yep. It's a clear allegory for, like, the youth having an opinion.
Yes.
And your stormtroopers, your police, your what have you, KGB,
Mm-hmm.
what have you, are shutting them down by threatening them.
Right.
The sheep do 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, and it stops any of the dissent because they're drowning everybody out.
Right.
Vocal minority of the
as
one
long as they're
group of
louder
animals
than the others
are louder
can-
and drowning the rest
Right.
out.
They cannot have a voice if the others are louder.
Again, can tell that's a thing.
That's a real
where you just have
thing.
these fucking idiots all over the place that will drown you out because you go anywhere and you just see all this because they apparently have no lives and all they do is think about this shit, or they're bots.
Right.
And that's all they are programmed to do.
Right.
So you see it all over the place and you think, man, there's a lot of people that think this. And it's like, no, that's not fucking true.
They're just louder.
But they're just louder.
Or vocal about it.
Squealer does his thing now. And Squealer says, you see, Napoleon is actually taking on some extra labor. No one believes more firmly than Comrade Napoleon that all animals are equal. But what if you were going to do something stupid with your freedom,
Right.
comrades?
We can't let you make the wrong decisions.
Right. So we need to make the decisions for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how the United States is built.
Yeah.
But
That's pretty true, actually.
I'm not completely wrong. People are fucking dumb.
Yes.
They will do stupid shit.
Right.
But in an ideal utopian world,
They
you
would
allow
have-
them to
they
do
have
the
the
wrong
right
thing
to
learn
make that
how
decision.
to do it right. Yeah.
To make the wrong decision. And then to learn from making that wrong decision. The problem is that part.
Well, Snowball wanted to educate the masses, and he was succeeding at that as well. So.
Yes.
And, of course, Napoleon does not want to educate the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Snowball was a criminal. I think even Boxer's like, well, he was pretty brave in that fight. Or,
Right.
like, some of them are saying, like, he was pretty brave. And he's like, well, you know, loyalty and obedience are more important than bravery. Surely you do not want Jones back.
Again.
And this is where Boxer comes up with the slogan that would end him.
Yes.
Which is, well, if Napoleon says it's right, then it must be right.
Must be right.
Napoleon is always right.
I'll work harder.
And remember, again, no one is always right. No one.
No, people make mistakes all the time. People don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Even if they act like they have the confidence and they pretend they do, they don't know.
The skull of Old Major is now set up, and the animals must file past in a revered manner whenever they pass it.
Mm-hmm.
On these, like,
Which
anniversaries.
means they dug
or
up his
so.
grave, cleaned off
Well,
the
this is-
bones.
This is a direct parallel to Lenin, who they embalmed the body, and they had
sure.
it in, like, a glass box.
Yeah.
Yeah. They dug up the grave, they bleached the skull, and they,
Right.
like, put it... Yeah. Which, it's an insane
And they
thing
put
to
it on
think
like
about
a pedestal.
the Soviets did that is kind of crazy too.
It's a little much. It's a little much.
Yeah. I assume the Nazis would have done it if they would have lasted, well, like Hitler was around.
Oh, sure.
I'm kind of surprised North Korea didn't do that with Kim Jong-un or Il, whichever one was the dad.
Right.
It seems like it'd be right out of their playbook to do that, but so they all were sitting in a circle before this, but now they no longer do it. Napoleon and Squealer sit in front, and all the animals sit and listen.
Right.
On the third Sunday after the snowball incident, the animals were somewhat surprised to hear Napoleon announce that a windmill was going to be built after all. And they may have to reduce rations because of all the work. A special committee was built to design it, and it's going to take 2 years.
Yes.
You see, Napoleon was never opposed to it. Snowball, in fact, stole the ideas from Napoleon.
That's right. That's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Why do you think he spoke so much against it? It's because he's cunning.
Which, none of that makes any sense, if you think about it.
Well, and none of it makes sense. It's a simplistic use of the fable, but I think if you were to look at history, there are plenty of times where you would see someone taking credit for somebody else's thought.
Of course.
And saying like, oh yeah, this was always my plan, was to do it this way.
Right.
And
this was my idea, but he was going about it wrong.
Right. This is openly political, but it's the only idea that comes to mind right now, which would be in the United States, there was this infrastructure bill, and it passed, and there were people that were saying like, oh, look at this, I brought all of this great work, and we're going to rebuild the bridges and stuff, and then people would look and be like, you voted against that bill.
Right.
Like that kind of rhetoric.
Yes.
I'm sure there's other examples of that.
Oh, probably. There's probably a lot of that. I mean, especially with bills and stuff, the way that all is, like, worked out, they always, like, stack those things. So that stuff is hidden, and so that it forces others to vote against or for something. It's very silly.
They all end up having to work a lot. It's very sneaky.
It's sneaky. You can't say it's not. It's all very sneaky.
It's sneaky, it is. They all end up working a lot harder now, but they all are fine working knowing it's for them and not these filthy, parasitic, fucking bipedal humans. These
right.
2 legs. Napoleon says they're going to have to work Sundays too.
Every day.
So, it's voluntary.
There is no leisure day. Yeah, it's voluntary. Yeah. Okay.
But if you don't do it, your rations get reduced.
See?
So.
How is that voluntary?
It's voluntary. It's freedom with consequences, Rachel.
All right.
That's what that is.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever you say.
God damn it.
Napoleon's always right.
Productivity will, of course, go up if we work every day, comrades.
Well, duh. It's being worked on.
That's why we have a standard 40-hour work week.
Oh God,
because we can be more productive that way.
Yeah, sure.
Comrades.
Mm-hmm. Productivity with the 40-hour work week.
It's how artificial intelligence is going to make it so that we have such better lives, comrades. You'll only have to work 3 days a week. There are problems now in their attempts to make the windmill. They aren't sure how to break sandstone. And they decide, well, we'll just use the force of gravity. So they're going to drag... I couldn't quite tell what this was.
Oh my God, what in the world?
They decide they're going to drag boulders to the top of a quarry, and they're going to let them roll down the quarry and break at the bottom. And once they are able to do this, they can build.
Right, because then they can use the smaller pieces to build it.
Yeah. Boxer is the key to all of this. And Boxer, because he's the strongest, is the one that can heave these things up the hills the best.
Right.
And Clover would tell him not to strain himself. Just don't strain yourself too much. And he's like, I don't mind. This is my job. This is what I'm here for.
This is what I'm here for.
Various unforeseen shortages began. Some stuff they don't have on the farm. And Napoleon announces they have to trade with neighboring farms.
Dun dun dun.
Not for commercial use, but just to get some stuff. He'd sell some hay and part of the wheat crop and some of the eggs.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of the milk.
But the hens should welcome this sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Now, remind you that at the beginning of this, he said that the hens would not have to give up any of their eggs.
Right.
They'd be their eggs.
Which is a tad silly because not all of those eggs are getting fertilized. And most of those eggs are probably just rotten at this point if they're not being eaten.
it's a lesson again in economics, even in this kind of society where it's like, okay, you don't have basic needs. It's about pushing the rhetoric. Because it's like, you don't have basic needs. You guys have excess of other stuff.
Right.
Why don't you trade with these other farms so that you can get the stuff you don't have and they can get the stuff they don't have?
Right. But you promised that I would get to keep it.
You promised it this way.
But I said I would get to keep it. What do you mean now I have to trade it? You're forcing me to do this.
Right. And again, that's if all the animals are truly free to make up their own mind on what to do with the resources that they have.
Yes.
I don't know. They say they never have to do any dealings with human beings was part of the deal here. Like, we aren't not supposed to deal with humans. Humans are the devil. Or at least that's what they thought they remembered. The dogs start to growl down the young pigs when the pigs start saying, that is not what we agreed to here.
Right. Because they were protesting.
Yes, they're protesting. Napoleon says that only he'll interact with an intermediary to go from farm to farm. And this is where we get that Mr. Whimper becomes the intermediary to talk with the other farms.
Right.
Squealer goes around telling them that the trade ban never had been passed. And if anything, it was probably all Snowball's fault anyway, right? Wasn't some sort of dream. It was never written down.
Oh,
about
of course.
A trade ban.
Like, how would we remember it perfectly?
And they all believe him. And they had pride when they saw Napoleon giving orders to a human. Because it's like, oh, pig giving orders to... I've never seen a pig give orders to a human before.
Right.
So they all have a little bit of pride in this now because they can say, hey, look, that human has to listen to this pig.
Yes. Like, the tables have turned. We actually do have the upper hand. But the pigs have the upper hand.
The pigs have the upper hand.
Or upper hoof.
Oh, God damn it.
Every time.
There was a rumor that Napoleon was going to start trade with the neighboring farms, and at this time, the pigs suddenly moved into the farmhouse. So now the pigs have moved into the farmhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Squealer comes out again and says, well, there's no resolution against being in the farmhouse. It was just, we all kind of said we wouldn't go in there.
Of course.
And it's the dignity of the leader should be able to live there versus living in the sty. So now they're calling him leader.
Right.
Napoleon.
It has changed.
Yeah, he's no longer Comrade Napoleon. He is leader. Napoleon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Frickin' pigs.
Isn't Kim Jong-un leader, like great noble leader? There's a lot of parallels between this and the way that the Stalinist regime was built and the North Korea. Like, North Korea is a pretty good way to look at a lot of the propaganda.
Yeah.
I mean, Putin could be too, but
yeah,
any totalitarian.
They give themselves titles.
Yeah.
It's those titles that they give themselves that you gotta be a little careful with.
Wasn't Führer?
Führer
is just leader.
Yeah,
in German.
that's what I'm. Yeah.
They start sleeping in the beds.
Yes.
And
How dare you? Something's wrong here.
I remember beds weren't supposed to be used. So she went to the commandments and she tried to read it. But Clover was never really good at reading. She could remember I think she knew how to do her name. Yes. But she could never remember, like, the full alphabet, like, how to put the letters together. She's got dyslexia.
Yeah.
So she goes and gets Muriel the goat. Because Muriel's this smart old goat.
Ah, the smart old goat.
So she gets Muriel. And she goes, Muriel, doesn't the fourth commandment say not to sleep in a bed? And Muriel goes, no, I think it says no animal shall sleep in a bed.
Well, she reads it out. She
with sheets.
Yes. No animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets.
Well, you see, comrades, sheets are a human invention.
Right. But we sleep in beds. We have beds of hay. So as long as there's no sheets, it's still a bed.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Clover didn't remember that, but since it was there, it must have been there the whole time.
Right.
This is why it's important to keep records and receipts as well.
Right.
They're comfortable, but not more than they need to be. Surely none of them wishes for Jones to be back. And suddenly the pigs were not getting up at the same hour as all the other animals. They were getting up an hour later.
You're already not doing any damned work on this farm.
You're already a pig.
You're already a damned pig, not doing any work on this farm. And now you're sleeping in?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest here. I'm with the pigs. You should, I'm not gonna get up.
I mean, honestly, you should be sleeping and making sure that you're, not overworking yourself. Boxer.
Yeah, because you got Boxer who's working all the nights in the light of the harvest moon.
He's working all the time. That poor horse.
Only Benjamin wouldn't grow enthusiastic at the sight of all of the building that they were doing. Just saying that donkeys live a long time.
Yep.
It's winter again, and the tiles are blowing off the roof of the barn because of the wind, and the flagstaff had blown down. The windmill was in ruins, and Napoleon ran to it because after this storm that happened,
was so upset.
All of their work is like shot, and
Right.
they're all upset, and they're all
Yes.
staring at it like, oh no, all of this work that we put in, all this labor, all this back-breaking labor.
Yes.
And I do like that even Napoleon runs to it and is like standing mournfully at it. And I feel like, Rachel, if you're in Napoleon's head, he's thinking, what do I do? What do I do? Like, I have to come up with something, and oh my god, all this work has been ruined. I have to come up with something.
Right. Absolutely.
He paces in silence, and suddenly he halts and he goes, comrades, do you know who's responsible for this? Who comes in the night and overthrew our windmill?
The storm? That big old windstorm that, knocked it down.
Tore shit off the roof. No, comrades! Snowball. I liked that because it is like all of your problems are because of this. It's not like
Scapegoat.
The thing. Yeah, it's a scapegoat or a scape pig, as you
Skate
said.
pig. The skate pig, Snowball.
There's a shirt. You can see that now. Like, it's almost a debate on like climate change, which I don't think was going on in the 40s.
Oh, yeah.
But you could even say like, oh no, it's not really the storm that did this. Whatever.
Right. It wasn't XY.
It's
it
not
wasn't
really
the science
climate
of
change.
This. It
It's
was,
this.
We have this to blame. This is to blame.
Yeah.
Oh, but then
It's all those cows.
And then that story changes. Oh, well, it's not
Yeah.
actually this. It's this. This is doing it. It's the cars are doing it. Oh, the cows are doing it. Oh, the almonds are doing it. Oh.
Well, we'll all get electric cars. Well, then the battery's bad, comrades. Better stick with
Right.
your gas car or whatever.
Oh my gosh. There's a lot of rhetoric on that. Interesting.
They start to rebuild the windmill. Out of spite, the humans don't believe it was Snowball. They believe it was because the walls were too thin. And they're like, yeah, fucking right. It was definitely Snowball. We're gonna have to build the walls thicker, I think. So they...
Yes, I do think it's like that. Absolutely.
They become cold and hungry, and only Boxer and Clover really don't lose heart, and all of the other animals find inspiration in Boxer. They all look up to him. I think even Benjamin looks up to Boxer.
I think so. Because I think
When we get to...
he looks at Boxer as like a friend, a comrade,
When we get to Boxer's death scene, it is very sad when he mentions
It's awful. Spoiler alert.
getting to retire with... But, like, his retire...
With
like,
the Benjamin.
when he's laying there, he's
Hopefully
like, maybe they'll let
Benjamin gets
Benjamin
to
retire.
retire with me. And I'm like, oh, Boxer. Like, Benjamin can just do whatever the fuck he wants. He'll just retire because he wants to. I don't think he would listen to the pigs regardless. So of course he will.
January food fell short, and they didn't have much, and starvation began to stare them in their face. And the humans began lying about the farm, saying that it was going to fail any day now.
Yes.
And using Mr. Whymper to make a different impression, they would have...
That they're thriving.
Yeah, so now they're doing some North Korea tactics here by, like, when Mr. Whymper comes by, they have the sheep remark casually that there's a bunch of rations, and rations have increased. And, oh, look, there's no food shortage here at all. And I think they even say, like, they take them to, like, a place where there's no food, but they make it, like, they put a tarp over it to make it look like there's a bunch of food there.
They filled barrels with sand or something and then, like, put the food on top to make it look like, look how full this is. It's overflowing.
Yeah. We're doing so well. Oh, and the animals don't like it when Mr. Whymper comes by because they're like, they just don't trust having a human around. So, like, why would they want this fucking
now this guy's,
biped?
He's the eyes. He's the eyes looking at them. And it's like, but 2 legs are bad. This guy shouldn't be here.
They were going to need more grain. At this point, they ask the hens to surrender more eggs so that they can trade eggs to barter for the grain.
Yes.
They're going to need 400 eggs a week, so they get on that. And the hens have a fucking fit.
As they should.
They start to resemble a rebellion. They decide to take this upon themselves. I couldn't tell exactly what this was pulling from in history.
I don't know.
Or if this is just a goofy way Orwell was like, how can I depict
representing some sort of protest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be just a representation of, like, protesting. Where it's fine, you know what? The things that I'm creating, the stuff that I'm doing the work for, I'm going to destroy it right in front of your face. You don't get to have it. Nobody gets to have it.
So they fly to the rafters and they lay their eggs, which smash to pieces. Smash to pieces! If I knew that you were going to get the armoire, I would smash it to pieces! They end up destroying their own eggs as opposed to letting humans trade for them. That's open rebellion.
That is
really
very open rebellion.
The pigs' request.
Mm-hmm.
But if this was a true democratic socialistic society, they would get to vote on if they were to do that, and it would be turned down, and they'd go, okay, we're going to have to find another way. Napoleon, in response to this, ends their rations and says the hens don't get any fucking food.
Yes! He starves them. Literally starves them to death.
Mm-hmm.
At least
Which is
a good handful of them.
With a totalitarian communistic regime, because if the government controls the supply of food, then they control you.
Right.
For 5 days, the hens held out, and then they capitulated. 9 hens even died.
Yes.
For their freedom. I wrote, Snowball was rumored at the rumoring places. What the fuck, Kevin? Snowball was rumored to be neighboring places. So depending on who they were doing trade with, he was always at the other guy's farm.
Yes.
That's very 1984. Because that is, we've always been at war with Eurasia. We've always been friends with Eurasia, right? Like, that is
it's just like, there's this weird, like, it just comes up whenever it needs to.
Yeah.
Like, what? Ignorance is bliss.
It comes back to his troubles with getting the book published. Because it's like, no. We're friends with Stalin right now.
Yes, you can't publish this. Oh my god. Oh, we're not friends with him anymore because it's over. So go ahead.
Snowball came at night all the time. He stole corn. He broke eggs. Everything that went wrong is because of fucking Snowball. I like the point when they lose a key. And they're like, fucking Snowball. And then they find the key and they're like, well, he must have brought it back.
Maybe he dropped it on one of his other routes, like, or something. It's, like, so stupid. Like, you stub your damn toe. Oh, that was totally Snowball. Snowball did that.
The rats being a problem? Definitely Snowball.
Yep.
It's like Seinfeld, how Jerry says his uncle is always like, anti-Semite, like, the uncle's like, stubbed a toe, anti-Semitic, or whatever. It's the same
it's
thing.
ridiculous.
It's like, I woke up in the morning and I couldn't pee. It's because of Snowball.
Yes. Every little thing has to be
I'm a little
his
constipated.
fault.
It's fucking Snowball's fault.
He did something to the food.
It's definitely Snowball's fault. There's too much traffic trying to get in and out of the farm every morning. Snowball's fault.
Totally did it.
I've gained 5 pounds. It's because of fucking Snowball, I'm telling you.
Yes. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. Snowball.
There is no personal responsibility.
Absolutely
here. It's all just Snowball's
not.
fault.
Mm-hmm.
They say Snowball has sold himself, which I love the fact that they say that he sold himself. He sold himself to Pinchfield, and they're going to attack. See, comrades, Snowball was in league with Jones from the start. They just discovered documents that show this.
Of course they did, yeah.
You wouldn't be able to read them, of course.
Of course not. No.
Except for Muriel and Benjamin, which I really wish that Muriel and Benjamin would be kind of like,
Which
about this whole thing.
I feel like they kind of were, but they also
didn't want to get involved.
Couldn't say anything.
Yeah. Snowball even tried to get them defeated in the Battle of the Cowshed. And even
Boxer. This is where I was just like, Boxer's going, hold up.
See, I don't think I think he questions it, but I think he comes around. Because he's like,
he questions
that he fought heroically.
Yes, but he questions it. And I feel like that's it laid a seed. It laid a seed of doubt in Boxer. And
Okay.
yes, he goes back to his motto and his whole thing of, well, but Napoleon said it has to be right, it has to be right. But I feel like there's still that seed of doubt planted in him. Just saying.
Squealer says that they called him a hero by mistake. And they make up a hero story for Napoleon. So they say that it was actually Napoleon who bit Jones.
Yes, and Snowball ran.
And they're
He
like,
retreated.
no, that was Snowball, I'm pretty sure. And Boxer still doesn't believe it.
Right.
And to your point, Rachel, he's like, it doesn't sound right, but if Napoleon says it, it must be right.
Yes.
I do like that Squealer gives Boxer an ugly look about this. Because I guess this does fit your narrative, Rachel, of like, are they thinking like we're gonna have to do something about this?
Right. If he's gonna start like questioning this, if he's
because they know Muriel and
he's not automatically
Benjamin
just going, oh yeah, that has
believe
to be right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if they lose Boxer,
Right.
then they're fucked.
Exactly. You can't lose Boxer. You can't lose that hard worker that everybody looks up to, because if he starts questioning things, the others might start thinking that they have to question it too.
Right. Napoleon awards himself some medals, as you do when you become a dictator.
I'm the leader. Of course I earned all of these.
Yeah. As a dictator, you have to award yourself medals. The dogs grab the pigs by the ears in the next meeting and pull them toward Napoleon. So those 4 young piglets,
the little protesters,
standing up and protesting, are pulled toward Napoleon by the dogs. But now the dogs have tasted blood.
This is a horrifying scene.
I believe that they were told to do this and see what happens. 3 of them go after Boxer, and Boxer kicks 2 of them away and pins one of them down.
Yep.
And he looks toward Napoleon for orders on whether to kill the dog for attacking him, and as you're not supposed to, because animals shouldn't kill other animals, or if he should let it go. And Napoleon says let it go. Because
he ordered them to go after Boxer.
I think so. I think Squealer told Napoleon, they said, let's see if we can take down Boxer too.
But he's too strong.
And this is another moment where Orwell says, like, in this moment, had Benjamin, had Clover said to Boxer, did you see what happened? We have to stop them. They could have stopped them.
They could have.
Because Boxer could have taken all of them out himself.
Yeah.
Much less with the help of the other animals.
Exactly. Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad and just frustrating because you can feel that. Mm-hmm. But Benjamin wouldn't open his damned mouth. You know?
Yeah. Benjamin is the tragic, apathetic.
It's like
figure here, which is why it is
I can see this isn't gonna last, and this and that. Your fucking best friend almost was murdered by Napoleon. You opened your damned mouth.
This is the crux of being apathetic and just surviving,
right?
And living your life and not giving a shit.
Sometimes
because you can adapt versus speaking up, putting yourself out there,
right?
And if something bad could happen,
something bad could happen. However, if you're apathetic, something bad could also continue to happen.
Right. But if you're Benjamin, you know how to navigate around surviving yourself.
But once again, that's his best friend.
Right.
Now you're watching your friends, your comrades, your family, you know, and you're still not saying anything.
Right.
That's all my point is.
It is the and we'll get to that later too, because it is the old idiom of they came for the communists, or they came from the intellectuals and I said nothing. They came for the Jews, I said nothing. And they came for me and there was no one left to speak up for me.
Right.
These pigs were told to confess their crimes. That they were in touch with Snowball and collaborated with him to destroy the windmill. And they had been Jones's agent in years past. So they confessed to these crimes that of course they didn't really do, but they were tortured. Or I do want to know how they got them to confess, quote unquote.
Oh my God. I don't, this was creepy.
It happens.
This was so creepy.
It happened a lot under Stalin. They purge like fucking madmen.
All I can think is that there was threats, right? And tortures in the background.
Yeah.
And the only way for them to end it, and the only way they thought they could end it, was to die. To admit it and die.
Right, because, like, why even bother living in this farm anyway?
Exactly. And it's just sickening. It's gross. It's, like, horrifying.
Yeah, it's powerful. The dogs kill the pigs. And then the hens are brought forward, and the hens admit that Snowball did help their little mini rebellion and revolt as well. And they're killed. And then a goose comes forward, and a sheep comes forward, and then a ram comes forward.
Pile the bodies on top of each other.
So the executions will continue until morale improves.
What the... Like, that's... What the hell? Like, I just can't imagine standing there and seeing others being murdered for not even stating the truth. I mean, honestly, it probably was something that it's like, yeah, I'm doing this because Snowball was what, like, inspired me to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I wonder also if these are coming forward almost as martyrs, and they're like, I'm going to say I stood up to this. Go ahead, kill me. Because I stood up to you. And trying to, like, inspire others to, you know, stand up. So it's like, there's a lot to that. This was a gross scene to me. I'm looking into it too heavily, but I mean, holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, it is your first time reading it.
Yes.
So I mean, the easier thing to do would have been to shove them out of windows. Or, I'm sorry, not shove them. My apologies to
walk.
They trip out of windows.
Right.
That's what keeps happening over there, right?
That's gross. That's awful. That's horrifying.
So now Clover and Benjamin and them are like, okay, this is bad now.
They go and have a group. I'm surprised he didn't stop them from, like, huddling.
From huddling?
Yes.
Yeah, or like now, you know, donkeys go here,
groups.
horses go here.
Yes!
Yeah.
Segregation? Oh, I'm surprised that didn't happen. I bet it was heading there.
It could have been a way that he would have gone with it.
If he had
of course, he's doing the parallel with the Soviets, but if you would have done a Nazi or fascistic Spain or something and said, like, okay, now we're having no more, or even the way the fucking Hunger Games totalitarianism works, where it's like separated. Nobody's talking to each other anymore.
Because I have to control more power. I have to have more power separation. Anyways, I'm sorry, go ahead with their grouping.
So they say it's worse because now it's happening amongst themselves. Like, this is wrong. And after a while, Boxer stands up and says, I don't understand it.
Yes!
Again, to your point, Rachel, he's like...
The seed is sprouting.
It's that self-aware, though, like, something's wrong, but
you feel it.
Can't quite tell why.
Yes.
But he goes, well, it must be some fault of ourselves. I'll work harder.
Yes. Is this at the same point where... They were like, but this is murder. What just happened? This was murder. We're killing other animals. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, let's look at our commandments again.
I think that's a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
Clover's eyes are filled with tears, and she is thinking, and even the narrator just phrases it as she thinks this, because she thinks that this was not what they wanted. This was not what their goals were.
Right.
This was not what they were looking forward to. It's actually a really good speech. It's at the end of chapter 7. It's like in her head. She's not actually speaking.
As Clover looked down the hillside, her eyes filled with tears. If she could have spoken her thoughts, it would have been to say that this was not what they had aimed at when they had set themselves years ago to work for the overthrow of the human race. These scenes of terror and slaughter were not what they had looked forward to on that night when Old Major first stirred them to rebellion. If she herself had had any picture of the future, it had been of a society of animals set free from hunger and the whip, all equal, each working according to his capacity, the strong protecting the weak, as she had protected the lost brood of ducklings with her foreleg on the night of Major's speech. Instead, she did not know why, they had come to a time when no one dared speak his mind, when fierce, growling dogs roamed everywhere, and when you had to watch your comrades torn to pieces after confessing to shocking crimes. There was no thought of rebellion or disobedience in her mind. She knew that, even as things were, they were far better off than they had been in the days of Jones, and that before all else, it was needful to prevent the return of the human beings. Whatever happened, she would remain faithful, work hard, carry out the orders that were given to her, and accept the leadership of Napoleon. But still, it was not for this that she and all the other animals had hoped and toiled. It was not for this that they had built the windmill and faced the bullets of Jones's gun. Such were her thoughts, though she lacked the words to express them. At last, feeling this to be in some way a substitute for the words she was unable to find, she began to sing Beasts of England. The other animals sitting around her took it up, and they sang it 3 times over, very tunefully, but slowly and mournfully, in a way they had never sung it before.
So now they're singing it mournfully. So now they're doing it in a way... It's like our cut scenes.
I felt like it.
Now they're doing it in a way where it is a remembrance of...
What it was supposed to be.
What it was supposed to be. So, of course, that means that Squealer has to show up and say... The Beasts of England is actually being abolished. It's being forbidden to sing. It was the song of rebellion, and now the rebellion is over. And before any of the other animals can protest, the sheep start singing 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Yeah,
and
there's no purpose to any of this anymore, so we'll just
Right.
Yell over you. Shush, 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 shush. All right, moving on.
They think they remember the commandment about not killing. Clover asks Benjamin to read it, but he doesn't want to. So she goes and gets Muriel again. And she says, well, it says, no animal shall kill any other animal without cause. Clearly they had cause.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They were working for Snowball.
Right. They're traitors.
So they work harder to put the windmill back together. And it seemed like it was worse than what it was in Jones's day. Although Squealer told and said that everything had increased, but they really couldn't remember what it was like, how many grain piles and hay bales and shit were back then, so
right.
We don't really know. This is said a couple times in this book. I couldn't tell if it was just an Orwellian part of his speech patterns, because Squealer is always quick to give them figures on how much more stuff they have now than what they had back in Jones's day. And Orwell says they would have wished they had less figures and more food. And in chapter 1, Benjamin has the tail that whips away the flies.
Right.
And they go, Benjamin used to have a saying that was, I wish I had no tail and no flies. So I was like, okay, that's very, very similar in how those lines are written. It could just be the way that you're supposed to imagine Benjamin's influence on how some of the...
I wish there was no heat and no flies.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it was in the summer they had to deal with the flies.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was like I have a tail that whips the flies.
Well, the tail, yeah, sure, the tail helps,
not have
but
a tail
why can't I have...
And not have any flies or something. They start to introduce Napoleon with all his titles. Leader, comrade Napoleon, father of all animals, terror of mankind, protector of the sheepfold, duckling's friend, father of dragons.
Yes. With the frickin'... it says that he has a frickin' rooster.
A rooster, yeah, you're right, yeah. So they start giving him credit for everything, and the propaganda just gets worse and worse. They put a poem out about how great Napoleon is on the barn opposite the commandments with a portrait of him. So now he is full Stalin, he's full Kim Jong.
Mm-hmm.
He is total dictator now.
Absolutely.
3 hens plotted to murder Napoleon.
They didn't make a statue of him, did they?
In the movie they do. I don't think they do in this. I don't think they do in the book.
I didn't think there was it just felt like there was about to be.
Like a Saddam Hussein statue? Yeah.
I'm expecting a statue to be built.
Yeah.
I guess that's the windmill. Just put the pig's face on it and you're good.
They execute 3 hens for plotting to murder Napoleon. I kind of wondered if they actually were plotting to murder him, if that's supposed to be Valkyrie.
I think they were.
Because at this point the hens are like, fuck this.
Yes.
They are pissed. Pink Eye, a young pig. I like a pig named Pink Eye. Good name for a pig.
Yeah, it's kind of
strong
funny.
Name.
Yeah.
He has to test all the food now because they think they could be trying to poison Napoleon.
Mm-hmm.
The pile of timber that is in excess at the farm is going to go to Pilkington. But they were like, wait, I thought we were supposed to hate Pilkington.
I can't keep up with which one we're supposed to hate, which one we're supposed to like anymore.
They think Frederick is coming after them, and they hear these words. And this is where I was like, oh, Frederick is Hitler. Got it. Because Frederick Frederick abused his animals in terrible fashion.
Right.
And the animals want to go after Frederick. Because they're like, he abuses his animals. We should be against that guy.
Right, we should be against him.
He's a prick. And Napoleon says, well, we're never going to do any trade with Frederick. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, he keeps changing everything. It's like, oh yeah, death to all of humanity. Well, let's just go to death to Frederick.
Frederick.
He's bad.
Frederick.
He's a bad guy. He is our
main
bad guy. All right, that's the one I want you to look at. But the rest of them are these are fine over here. We can trade with them.
And a gander confessed his guilt to Squealer, and he takes Nightshade as punishment to kill himself.
Wow, that's just the Hunger Games.
It is the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games could spice up this farm a little bit. You get a couple of dogs, couple of...
You get cockfights going on?
Piglets.
Is that what you're telling me right now?
I have a feeling that that's part of the game at some point.
Oh,
There's definitely cockfights.
There's definitely like, yeah, just throw him in the pit.
Yeah, just throw them in the
you
pit.
know what I mean? Like, have them fight
know,
each other. And then, you know what? Maybe you guys will get more rations. Whoever wins.
Snowball never received the Order of Animal Hero. That was just a legend. He was actually a coward.
Oh, yeah.
And they have the structure of the windmill complete, but they don't have the tech to actually build it yet. But they're tired and they're proud that they actually completed it, so they walk around the windmill and they're happy that they actually built the thing. Mm-hmm. And the windmill is named Napoleon Mill.
Of course it is. Of course. And, like, I literally was like, I rolled my eyes when I'm like, oh my god.
And actually, Frederick bought the timber. So, hey, we've got some extra money that we can go buy the stuff we'll need with.
Yeah.
And really that whole time, when we said that we wanted to kill Frederick, we actually meant Pilkington.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't Frederick. We got the names mixed up. It was Pilkington the whole time.
And all that stuff that Frederick says, totally exaggerated.
Yeah, that never happened, yeah.
And actually, Snowball's at Pilkington's. He's not at Frederick's.
It's like, this is ridiculous. It ping-pongs so much. So much. It's ridiculous.
This is what rhetoric and totalitarian regimes are, and certain politicians that say that they love this guy and then they never heard of this guy.
Yeah, right. Yes, of course, yeah.
It happens.
It does. It does happen. It's just... sometimes it's like, how is this not obvious? How is this not obvious?
Frederick wants to pay with a check, but they wanted notes, so they're able to get these notes. And Whymper comes running into the house after he tries to cash the notes in for the farm, and he finds out that they were all forged.
Oh so my god.
Now Napoleon has a fucking fit, and he's like, death to Frederick!
Yep.
And they get ready for war.
He screwed us over, that's it.
Yep, and a war begins. Not an easy victory here, as Frederick invades the farm.
Yes!
The men open fire, and the animals retreat, and the pasture and the windmill end up in the hands of the enemy. If they would get just help from Pilkington, they'd be okay. But the pigeons come back, and there's a note from Pilkington that says... What, Rachel?
Serves you right.
So clearly this is an allegory to the Nazis invading Russia during World War II, and the Americans and the British being like, go fuck yourselves. You made a pact with him. We told you to not make a pact with him.
We told you this was bad. Like, we knew this was happening.
Of course, eventually then the Americans and the British.
Of course.
Because the Nazis screw up, and then they're fighting a two-pronged war, and that allows the Americans and the British to advance, and the Soviets are actually very, very good at fighting.
Right.
And they beat the shit out of the Nazis, and without them, they would not have defeated the Nazis.
Absolutely.
The Frederick men come to knock the windmill down, and Napoleon's like, it's impossible. I think all of the animals
the
are, like,
walls
hiding
are
in the
too
barn.
thick.
Yeah. I think they're all, like, hiding in the barn to, like, stop this from...
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
Benjamin, like, looks and he's like, no, I think I know what they're gonna do here. He's like, you guys see what they're doing?
See, they're drilling some holes. You know what they're gonna put in those holes? Boom.
And that's exactly what they do. So they blow up the windmill. So I like the way that Orwell describes the windmill blowing up here. The way that he describes the imagery of the windmill, like, going to pieces, and the animals just being enraged at this.
Right.
And wanting vengeance on the enemy. And they go straight for them, and there's a savage, bitter battle, and they go nuts. A cow, 3 sheep, and 2 geese were killed. Even Napoleon had his tail chipped as part of the battle. Which is supposed to be an allegory for the way that just the brutal battles between the Nazis and the Soviets
Yes.
in the Eastern Bloc. Which is why it's interesting that this didn't come out until after World War II, because it almost feels like he was able to add that. Not that wasn't going on by 1943 or 44, of course, but like you're able to kind of see it in retrospect. Like if he wanted to add anything to it before it got published.
Yeah. Maybe I guess he thought it said enough. But you're right. He probably could have done a lot of editing to it. I mean, honestly, it could have been a never-ending process if you want to think of it that way then.
The animals win. They surround the men. They chase them out. But they see dead comrades, and the windmill is gone again. This time the stones were gone, too, because they blew it up. So it was like the windmill had never even been up. So they're very demoralized at this point. And Squealer, who couldn't be found during the fighting, came by with satisfaction. Well, yeah, this little pig, this little fucking little pink little bastard, this fat little fuck. They fire a gun to celebrate the victory. Boxer's like, what victory?
Right.
And they're
like, why are you doing this? Like, this isn't a victory.
Got rid of Frederick. And they're like, but they destroyed the windmill and we worked on it for 2 years.
Right.
Squealer says, well, we can rebuild it. Every inch of it back. We won back everything that we had. And Boxer's like, this is gonna fucking suck, because they're gonna make me rebuild this whole thing, and he doesn't think he's gonna be able to rebuild it.
No, because it's a bunch of because they're like, oh, we'll build even more windmills, and it's like, what? That's what?
I think this is all about Stalin's 5-year plans, where they would have like 5-year plans for the economy and these goals that they set for the economy, but they were always outlandish goals.
Right.
And then when they wouldn't meet them, they'd be like, no, we really met them. Yeah. It's fine to have goals. Realistic goals.
Realistic goals. Honestly, on a personal level, make sure they're realistic for you.
But after all the victory speeches, they believe it, and there's a funeral for all the animals that were slain. They even give out apples and biscuits, and the Battle of the Windmill is done. And they make a banner about it. Mm-hmm. And everyone forgets about those banknotes and all that money that they lost.
Right.
The pigs find some whiskey in the farmhouse cellar.
Oh.
And they hear singing and Beasts of England coming from the house.
Yes.
They can even see Napoleon wearing a bowler hat. He runs out.
I could just picture a pig in a bowler hat.
Runs out in a circle. I was like, is he like drunkenly streaking, but he had to put a bowler hat on to streak because they're normally naked? Because they say he runs out, he runs in a circle, and he runs back in the farmhouse.
I think that's what it was. I think it was just like, I'm wearing clothes.
I put on a bowler hat! Oh, this is fucking hilarious!
Yes. Yes.
There was a deep silence the next morning. And Squealer comes out all hungover. A hungover pig? So because of this, they believe that Napoleon is dying, and the animals are all upset. And they're like, maybe Snowball poisoned him. Drinking alcohol is punishable by death, because Napoleon is so sick and hungover. Mm-hmm. But Napoleon, of course, is better the next day. And as he's recovering, they say, you know what we really need to do here? We need to make a distillery.
Yeah,
just the fucking
drinking
useless...
isn't bad. I think we need to make more.
And they're going to plow the pasture that is supposed to be used for retiring animals.
Right. Yes.
So they'll put some barley in there.
Has that even happened yet? Nobody has even gotten to retire yet.
Not yet.
No.
One night there's a crash in the yard, and at the foot of the barn by the commandments there's a ladder fallen between Squealer, where there's a paintbrush and paint.
Yep.
And before the animals can be like, what the fuck? The dogs make a ring around him and take him back.
Right. They hide it.
None knew what it meant, except Benjamin, who said nothing. And Muriel reads the commandments again, because there's another one that they got wrong. It says, no animal should drink alcohol to excess. So again, they've changed it.
Another change. It's ridiculous.
Boxer had hurt his hoof in that battle, and now it's taking a long time to heal because he's getting older and he's working way too hard.
I was going to say he's refusing to stop, so he's not even letting himself heal, and it's just going to get worse. And he's working even harder now because he feels like he has to, because now they're going to have to rebuild the windmill and make 9 more.
He wouldn't show his pain, but he told Clover, like, this hurts like hell. And her and Benjamin tell him not to work so hard, But he's like, well, I only really have one ambition. It's to see the windmill built before I retire.
Right.
And this is where they talk about having a retirement age. They had a pension and stuff that was supposed to be there. But the winter ends up being bad. Food's even shorter. The rations are reduced, except for the pigs and the dogs. The rations really weren't reduced for them.
Right. Yeah. You see that, too.
And they're not really short of food per squealer. They just need to readjust the rations. And it's still better than Jones's Day. Remember, it's not a tax hike. It's a refund adjustment from The Simpsons. They couldn't even really remember Jones's Day, but they figured it had to be worse. But at least they're free now. Bunch of pigs are born. And I guess Napoleon is fucking all the sows. Or screwing all the sows. Because the piglets all look like him. Did you catch that, Rachel?
I don't think I did catch that, actually. I didn't realize there were
Yeah.
piglets born, but I guess that would make sense. Yeah, he's probably, like, got his little harem going of pigs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck all the pigs. Get over here and lay on top of me, you sow.
Oh, good lord. That's so awful.
We get a little blue.
Ugh.
He teaches the piglets in the kitchen, and he tells them not to hang out or play with any of the other animals. And in fact, all other animals now must move aside for pigs.
Interesting.
The pigs get to wear green ribbons on their tails.
What? Rude. Rude,
And
considering.
the pigs are all getting fatter.
Yeah, because they keep eating.
Well, they smell cooking, and they thought maybe they were getting something cooked, but now all the barley's going to be reserved for the pigs.
Right.
In fact, they're getting a pint of beer daily, and Napoleon gets a half a gallon, this fucking slob.
Even more eggs and more everything.
They have spontaneous demonstrations where they march around in military formation now. So now it's just full-on
Oh my
military
God.
dictatorship.
Which is just creepy.
The sheep loved it, of course. Some animals complained, but the sheep always shot it down with their fucking chant.
Yep.
Get a new chant!
Yeah, they do. They do. Just wait for that
This
one.
goes out for all the sheep out there, or sheeple. Get a new fucking chant. If somebody proves something wrong, find something else!
Right. I mean, don't even get a chance.
God
Maybe
damn
think
it.
for a minute. Like, stop. Like, wait.
No, asking these people to think,
All right,
it
I'm
hurts
sorry.
their brains.
I'm
They're
sorry.
fucking stupid.
Then
They
listen
are
to
some
a
of the
lot
dumb-
of people instead of just
Again,
one.
Remember going back? Yes, please. To several.
Listen
As George
and
Carlin said.
learn from multiple people instead of one.
Think of the average person.
I know.
Now just remember that 50% of the people are stupider than that.
It's a sad joke.
All of those demonstrations, though, allowed them to forget that they were hungry. And they have elections where Napoleon is the only candidate, and he wins unanimously.
How is that? How is that an election? How is that an election?
I don't know. Vladimir, how is that an election? I know you're listening to this.
I would hope not. I don't want to deal with it.
Snowball is revealed to have only been openly fighting for Jones in the cowshed, with "Long live humanity" on his lips, and Napoleon actually bit him during the battle. Suddenly Moses comes back, and he starts talking about fucking Sugar Candy Mountain again, because now
I
the
think
lives
he
of the
knew.
animals suck
Yeah,
so much.
I think he knew he could come back and, like, now talk, and he might be able to make his flock a little bit bigger.
Because now the animals' lives suck again, and since their lives suck, they have to turn toward Moses and Sugar Candy Mountain again.
Right. The fact that it's called Sugar Candy Mountain just sounds fake. Like, it doesn't even feel like it should be in this book, which is about talking animals. All right? There's just something about it being called
it's a
Sugar
very
Candy Mountain.
cynical view of heaven.
Yeah, I know. It's just the way that it sounds like a child. Like, I'm gonna go play with. Like, I'm gonna go ride the happy unicorns in onto the rainbow in Sugar Candy Mountain. There's just something about it that is just like I can't even like wrap my head around it. It immediately makes me go, what?
The pigs knew that he was lying about Sugar Candy Mountain, but they're like, whatever, if it lets them work, fine.
Right.
Boxer's hide is less shiny, his haunches had shrunken. He still worked hard. But during the next year, he didn't grow fatter. Only his will kept him going, and Clover and Benjamin warned him not to overdo it, but he wouldn't. Boxer, Rachel's so sad
This is
because
so
of this fight.
sad.
Boxer goes to grab some stone, and he falls over from exhaustion. And they rush out, and he couldn't even lift his head, and Clover drops to her knees, Baxter says, "It's my lung, but it doesn't matter. You can finish the windmill without me. To tell you the truth, I've been looking forward to retirement. Maybe they'd even let Benjamin retire to be a companion to me."
It's so
sad.
sad.
That's so fucking sad. Like, you really feel for this goddamned horse.
You truly do.
Because he even admits here that, like, well, I mean, I wanted to do my best to help everyone, but I really just wanted to retire.
Yeah, he's
like,
yeah. He's like, I wanted to be a part of this, but I think you can do it without me, and I want to retire, and I just want to live.
Well,
now.
he thinks he's dying.
Yeah,
So
I want to
like,
live until I'm no longer living.
Clover tells them to go get Squealer. Benjamin lays down by him. Clover stays by his side. Squealer comes and says they're going to send Boxer to the hospital. They're uneasy about this because they're going to have Boxer in the hands of humans. But they're like, well, we can't really do anything about him here. He needs to see, like, a vet.
Right, he needs to see a veterinarian. Right.
And they're like, all right, I guess that's fine. So Boxer recovers a bit, and he goes back to his stall to relax. And Clover gets Boxer some medicine. And Baxter's like, don't worry about it, or says, don't be sorry. If he made a good recovery, he may live a few years and enjoy retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to learn the rest of the alphabet while I retire.
Yep.
Which is even like,
He
once I
wants to-
retire, I
he
can read
wants
these
to-
books. There was time now.
Yeah, he wanted to, like, do some, like, mental labor instead of physical labor. You know?
Yeah, which is also nice, where he's like, I can
Yes.
finally read these books.
Yeah. It's sad. And it says, like, Clover would lay with him during the day, and Boxer would, and
Ben.
Benjamin would keep the flies away, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so sad.
And then in the middle of the day while the others worked, a van came to take him away. Benjamin starts galloping toward it. And they're like,
Screaming.
Benjamin's running? Why the hell is Benjamin running? And he's like, you fucking morons! Don't you see what it says? And they're like, well, it's just here to take Boxer. And they're like, Boxer's stall is empty. And they're all like, oh, well, goodbye, Boxer. Goodbye. And he's
Yeah,
like, shut the fuck up, you idiots.
Can't you
Look at
read
what the
this?
man says. And Muriel begins to read the words. And Ben's like, let me read it. Let me fucking read it for you.
Yeah,
it
because
says,
she's slow.
horse slaughterer and glue boiler.
Yep.
This is actually kind of intense and heartbreaking, this whole
Oh my
part,
God,
because
it is
you can feel for Ben here.
Horrifying. Because
Boxer.
Because he didn't speak up until it was too late.
That's the lesson. That is the lesson of the book. He didn't speak up until it was too late.
Yes, and it killed him. That like now his friend is going to slaughter.
Yeah, because
Literally.
it's not him that's going to die.
It's somebody that he loves.
It's his friend. Yeah.
And so they all start screaming to like stop,
Yes.
let him out.
And
Boxer,
in fact,
Boxer.
he tries to kick his way out because
'Cause
Ben
he
and
hears
Clover
them.
are telling him, get out.
Yes.
Get out.
And he starts to kick, but he's weak. He's too weak. And it's so sad.
And you
I
know
was
what
like,
that means, Rachel? That means that at his last thought on the farm, he trusted the animals
Yes.
over Napoleon because
Yes.
they said, you have to get out.
Yes. And he tried.
And Boxer was never seen again. So Squealer comes out and says that he died in the hospital and that he was there. And he said, forward in the name of the rebellion and long live Animal Farm, long live Napoleon.
And all
And
I
I
want to
do
say
like-
is fuck you, and I want Benjamin to kick him in his face. So
I
bad.
feel like in this remake there could be a scene where Ben is just sitting there and Squealer's like, Benjamin, I know that you were very close to Boxer and all this stuff, and Benjamin could be like, well, you said that he said Napoleon was always right, didn't you, Squealer? And like he could be like really passive aggressive towards Squealer, and then Squealer could be like,
yes.
you don't like me very much, do you, Ben? And he could go, I like you no more or less than any of the other pigs on Animal Farm.
Yes!
Like, you know what I mean?
Yes! Yes! I like you, like, just as much as I like any other pig here. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, he probably...
Oh, that would be so good.
Like, he could even say something like, I mean, all animals are created equal, aren't they,
they?
Squealer? Like, he could just be this like
Oh.
completely lose it
Oh
at
my
this
god.
point.
I feel like he should. I want him to so
That doesn't happen in the
bad.
book, folks.
It
But
doesn't!
Andy Serkis, if you're listening, I kind of want that. I know it's against Benjamin's character a bit, but if he's passive-aggressive about it, I think you could get away with
I feel like that
it.
passive aggressiveness would be in his character, especially
Especially
after
now.
this moment. It wouldn't
Yeah.
happen before this. Absolutely not. He would just be cynical and, say whatever every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, he wants to be more verbal. He wants to be, like, to do something. But he also doesn't, because that's just how he is.
He's about self-preservation,
Yes.
and he doesn't want to deal with politics. He just
Right.
wants to live his life.
And he wants it to be over, but he doesn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Some of the animals noticed that the van said slaughter, but that's just silly and stupid. Much simpler thing here. The vet bought the van from the slaughterer and didn't paint it. And they buy this because the animals are fucking stupid. This is where you could have Ben and Muriel be like,
want it to be the truth. They might not believe him, but they want it to be the truth. So they allow themselves to believe it.
They have a banquet in Boxer's honor, and a grocer delivers a crate to the farmhouse, and I was like, are they gonna fucking eat Boxer? I thought for a moment that the pigs were gonna eat Boxer.
Oh, that
actually,
would just be so dark and awful.
It's just a case of whiskey, but
yeah,
I thought it was worse.
Oh, man. I could see it. I could see the pigs doing it. That would be grotesque. Now they're truly like that would be them truly falling into the rumor mill of what was actually happening.
Oh yeah, of what actually they said. Yeah, which could have been a nice way to
like a little
now
bit of
they're
callback.
Actually what they said you were. Yeah. There's a time jump now in the last chapter as years pass, and only a few remember the revolution. Muriel died.
Yes.
Bluebell, Jesse, and Pincher have all died. Jones is even dead.
Right.
Snowball and Boxer were all forgotten except for the last few. Clover was supposed to retire, but no one ever did. The pigs are now super fat. I just picture, like, in this time jump,
Like
that the
big,
pigs...
like, bulbous balls rolling around? Yes.
Yeah, that they're just amazingly
like, they have these,
fat.
like, little feet. They're like, just constantly.
Yeah.
And, like, smoking cigars. And I just... Yeah.
Benjamin
they have these
was the
tiny
same.
coats on that don't quite fit.
Oh, yeah,
like...
they don't quite fit, yeah. Benjamin was still the same. Just more pissed off than usual.
Yeah, I think he just... Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They bought some horses that were stupid, but they were good at working. But they accepted everything that they were told because they were dumb.
Right.
Which means that they realized that they had to get horses dumber than Boxer because Boxer was questioning stuff too much.
Yes.
They make a windmill again, except it really wasn't used for electricity. It was just used for corn. And all the luxuries that Snowball talked about never actually happened. But that's because the truest happiness is working hard and living frugal. The farm was richer, but none of the animals were richer except for the pigs and the dogs.
Of course.
And the other animals were too dumb to get supervision and reports and shit, so they just had to keep doing the manual labor.
Right. Exactly.
Only Benjamin could remember every detail of his life, that nothing would ever change. And yet the animals never gave up hope. They still hoped that one day the farm would be led the way that they thought it should be led. Mm-hmm. They still believed old Major's dream was coming. They were all still equal. And Squealer one day comes and asks the sheep to follow him. And in the evening he came back and told the sheep to stay in the field. He was teaching them a new song, is what he told the other animals.
Yeah.
Clover neighed one night, and they all came rushing, because she saw something terrifying. I just imagined her being like, what the fuck?!
Like, I would scream bloody murder if I saw this.
Folks, if you see this, call, I don't even know, your
Animal
representatives? I don't know. Your local pastor? I don't know.
Do we want the pigs to uprise and be in charge?
I mean, sort of, yes. Any given year.
Yeah. It's one pig or the other, right?
Pretty much. Are they still gonna let me eat them?
Ooh, no. I don't think they would. I don't think they would. That would be the problem. Yeah.
This is like Molly talking about the sugar. Can I still eat
sugar.
bacon? I'm such a Molly. I'm such a little human slut. Can I still play video games and watch movies? Yes. Then totalitarianism is fine, I guess. Oh, wait, no. I can't have these things under totalitarianism? I'm getting the fuck out of here!
Molly, I'm the cat. I'm the cat.
Yeah.
Let me the fuck out.
I'm the cat or Molly. Definitely.
I'm one of those rats or the rabbits that they tried to tame, and I'm just like, I'm out.
I've got that passport ready.
Going back to the forest. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll go live in the fucking woods.
I got a burrow. Look, I'm gonna go to that burrow. I'm alright.
The pigs were walking on their hind legs.
Yes! What?
Squealer strolls across their yard, and then they all come out doing it. Napoleon comes out with a whip, for God's sake.
With a freaking whip!
Just to show you that he's lost his goddamn mind. They're about to protest, the animals are, but the sheep start saying... Rachel, I'll let you do it.
4 legs good. 2 legs better. 4 legs good. 2 legs better.
Benjamin feels Clover nuzzling at him, and she tugs at his mane and says, I need you to come with me since Muriel's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, my sight's failing, and even when I was young I could not read what was written on this, but it looks different. And she goes, Ben, are they the same as they've always been? And Ben breaks his own rule about getting involved. And this is where I think that you could do a lot with Ben in any new adaptation, too. Because you could be like, I'm sorry. He could even be like, I'm sorry, Clover. It's not what it used to say. It's not what any of this was supposed to be. Like, he could say what Clover does in that one monologue.
Yes. Yeah, he could be the voice that she couldn't have. Yeah,
and this is where, like, he could say it again. And Clover could be like, oh, you've thought this the whole time.
Yes.
And he could be like, yes, it's all my fault. This is where he could be like, this is all my fault. You know what I mean?
Look, I am mad at you because you could have opened your damned muzzle, but you didn't.
Right. Ben says there's only one on here. And this is another shirt, Rachel. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Which, of course, is an Orwellian phrase that will be repeated until the end of time.
Yep.
It's great. This is the everlasting thing that comes with this. All animals are equal, but some animals are equal than others.
Yeah.
Now all the pigs have whips.
Yes.
They start reading the paper, smoking pipes. They put on clothes. A bunch of neighboring farmers come and inspect the farm and give the pigs such great admiration for how much they have this under control. This is where it's anti-capitalist, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they're going, oh, well, you've done such a good job making these animals your workers.
Yes.
Your slaves.
Right.
We still have that problem with what we call classes.
So goofy. It's so goofy.
The animals want to know what's going on in the farmhouse because they're like, we're not sure if we should be afraid of the animals and the pigs or the humans. So they go up to and they creep into the garden and Clover leads the way in because Clover could be an interesting character to adapt to because she's so committed to Old Major's dream, but at the same time is like, this is just fucked up.
Yeah, she wants the old dream, and she's like, well, maybe it'll eventually come around. It's gonna come around. It's gonna come around. But she still, like, is going, this is wrong. This is wrong. Mm-hmm.
They're all around a table. They're all playing cards. So here's a new painting for you folks out there. Instead of the dogs playing cards, you just make it pigs playing poker. I would like that. I'd hang that up. Pigs in little tuxedos playing poker and smoking cigars. I'd remake that. If we can, pigs at home, if we can teach you to sit there with the things in your hooves, we could do this. We could get that to work.
You just set them in a chair?
Yeah, like Spider Pig. It's like something out of The Simpsons to like put a pig in a chair.
Harry Plopper.
Pilking, yes, he's not Spider Pig anymore. He's Harry Plopper. Pilkington is there, and Pilkington, of course, is representing the capitalists, so he's the one that's giving this speech, because he's the American, or the Englishman.
Yeah.
And he gives a speech about how the animals there did more work and received less food than any other land. They should be emulated. If you have lower animals to contend with, we have our lower classes, the little fucks that think that they're going to have a good life or retirement. Fuck them.
Yep.
That's your lesson. There you go.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Ben is right at the end of the day. Napoleon gives a speech and he says they shouldn't call them comrades anymore. We're not comrades. We have no idea why that boar skull was here. We buried that fucking thing.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
Oh
These
my
fucking animals
God.
thought that this boar was like a thing to look up to. Fucking stupid.
Yep.
We got rid of that flag because that was dumb.
Yes.
Really lame. And in fact, we're not calling it Animal Farm anymore. It should be called Manor Farm.
It's
So
back
now they've
to
gone
being the manor.
360. And the whole point, and you think about the word revolution, revolution is a complete circle.
Right.
So now the revolution is complete. It has gone a full 360 back
Yes.
to being Manor Farm, dictatorship. The animals are the slaves.
And the only thing that's different is it's pigs instead of humans. What's the difference?
And just to hammer the point home here, Clover can't see why they're changing, but she's like, something is weird about this. I can't tell the difference between the animals and the pigs. They hear an uproar and they look back in the window and there's a fight going on because both Napoleon and Pilkington both had an ace of spades.
So somebody had
cheating.
something up their sleeve. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference? There isn't any.
Right. and that's the ending. Just to hammer the point home and to beat you over the fucking head with it, which he's trying to make this as universally as possible so that it reaches the masses as much as possible. He just says they couldn't tell which was pig or man. And that is the end of the story.
It's sad. It's a shitty ending.
It's a very bleak, it's Orwellian.
Yes.
Orwell is just known for bleak endings. And
yes, bleak truths.
This is
I
very
guess would be
bleak.
what he would say.
He would say, yes. Do you want to know the endings of the movies?
I do.
Okay.
I'm curious now. So we know that it ends with pigmen.
Pigman. It's a pigman, Jerry! A pigman! It is. Pigman.
It's a pigman.
So, the 1953 movie ends with them peering in and seeing that the pigs have become man and the man has become pig. And this infuriates Clover and Benjamin, and they rally the animals, and there's another revolution, and they kick the pigs out. That's the end of the cartoon.
I mean, that's what you want to happen.
That's what you want to happen. It's a cartoon, so it's more aimed for the
young. A
young.
little bit nicer of an ending.
And it's the 50s, and it's
that's also
funded
propaganda,
by
so it's like trying
funded
to tell
by the
you.
CIA.
Yeah.
So it's like, you guys can get rid of Stalin, you just need to do another revolt.
If you just actually do something.
Yeah. So I think that's why it has that ending.
I could
definitely
it's
very
see
like,
that.
We need you guys to revolt and bring back,
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism or whatever. The 1999 movie, which is more Jessie's point of view.
Okay.
She's your main protagonist. She ends it by looking the dog.
Okay.
Yeah. So way more influence than she has like in the book.
Yeah.
But so she looks in the window and she sees it, and they actually do kind of a neat effect where they like have it so that like it's cold out, so the glass is kind of frosting,
and so
so it's morphing the glass, so she can't tell which one's the pig and which one's the
can.
human.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that.
And she goes to Clover's with her, and she goes, "We need to get out of here before we can't." So Clover, Benjamin, and Muriel, because they still have Muriel's alive in at the end of this one, they leave, and they go into hiding. And they go into hiding for years, and they wait, and then the movie there is a statue of Napoleon, and one day, like years later, they see the statue start to fall, and she's like, "We just had to hold." It's a rushed ending. The ending is totally rushed in the movie, but if we were done better, I'd be okay with it. But they're like, we held out hope, and we thought we saw like it start to crumble. Mm-hmm. I knew that if we just held out and in hiding, eventually Napoleon's greed would get the better of them, and it would collapse.
Right.
And they go back, and they see that the farm's in ruins. A lot of the animals are dead, but she's like, but there are some survivors, and they like find all the rest of the animals, and they start to rebuild and make a better society.
Sure.
I think that it makes sense for them to go with that ending in 1999 because, again, you don't want to go with the too bleak of an ending.
Sure.
So they're like, well, the Soviet Union's gone, so let's go with what happened to the Soviet Union.
Right.
You just wait till it falls. Of course, that brought another...
That's kind of the Benjamin route, too. We just have to hide until it's over.
But he's not even, let's get out of here. Like, in this, they're like, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, the waiting. Mm-hmm. It's going to change.
Now, if there would have been a sequel, then a couple of those dogs that were Napoleon's bodyguards would have started to split up the industries amongst themselves. and then rise up to be the new bourgeoisie,
Oh, I could see that.
and there'd be a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But
There'd be a
anyway,
lot of problems.
that is the end of Animal Farm. Can't imagine what we're going to do for future books, but future books might not have as straightforward of a narrative to
sure.
be able to go through
Yeah.
these plot points, plot by plot. But we were able to do it. I knew we were going to be. So, Rachel, we have come to that point of the show where I ask you, after reading it for the first time,
Yes.
does Animal Farm have shelf life?
Yes. I'm going to give Animal Farm shelf life. It's intriguing, it's interesting, it brings a lot of points to the table, it makes you think, and I feel like you can apply this to so many different scenarios. Past, present, future. There's so many different things that you could actually like parallel this with. So I feel like it's actually a smart way to think, especially when you actually like put the time into analyzing it.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good allegory. It's a very sombering story. I think it still holds up with all the propaganda, the misinformation, deception that still happens across the globe in various forms. It doesn't have to be the government. It can be a fucking company. It can be anything.
Anything that somebody is trying to just hoard all of the power.
Yeah. Of whatever it happens to be.
Whatever it is.
I think that it works, like you're saying, for different scenarios, different stories. It's a simple way to give people an idea of what those things mean. This is one of my favorite books. It really is. I think it just works. It's such a simple tale. It's so quick to be able to read and understand and analyze and get different things out of it. Just depending on what's going on in the world, you can get different things out of it.
Absolutely.
It has shelf life for me as well. I don't even think I came into this saying this is one of my favorite books. I did not plan to say that. But rereading it and analyzing it, I'm like, no, I really do like this book. It really should be on your shelf. I think if you haven't read it, you should read it and you should think about it.
And like actually just let it kind of simmer. Like think about it. It's weird. Yeah. You're going to think it's weird. All right? I'm not going to put that away. And there's a lot of parts where you're just like, oh my God. But that's also what you should be thinking about. I want you to read the parts that make you go, oh my God.
In the current day and age, it is probably something that a lot of people read when they're younger. And I think they could go back and read it again when they're older and kind of see what has changed in their lives or what's changed around them, that they can get more out of it or understand it better. But I think it's a good story. So there were a lot of times where these things, they did not want to publish this book, and it turned out to be a lot of Soviet spies were also part of the reason, according to some of the articles that I found. I don't know if it's probably true, because the Soviets had a lot of spies.
Yeah, it could be.
I like this one. I do like this one. This is one, when I say like favorite books, I say that because I think this is one you can reread or re-listen to very easily. And I say that about favorite books and movies, right? Because I want it to be something I can revisit.
Right.
So that is Animal Farm by George Orwell from 1945. Cross that off the list, Rachel. It's on the shelf. And until next time, we are going to go back to the trough, roll around in my own filth for a little while.
Oh, no.
Remember, folks... Hard. Yeah, you just keep working hard.
Yeah.
Remember, folks, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. This has been... Actually, no.
Actually, maybe don't be the sheep. Maybe don't be the sheep.
I've been Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And remember, folks, 4 legs good, 2 legs also good. This has been Shelf Life. We'll see you next time.
Also okay.
East of England, east of Ireland.
I really like pigs, but this is making me hate them.